All right, guys, we're here. We're live. Welcome to a brand new Poker Live podcast. My name is Joe Ingram1, a.k.a. Chicago Joey, a.k.a. GTO's Way of Life. We're back in the podcast streets. We're joined today by a young man who we've had on the podcast about a year ago, and we're excited to get him back on. He's done a lot of fun things. He's wrote interesting blogs that people have read. He's debatably conquered the daily fantasy sports streets. He's made a recent move to San Diego. He looks like he's been working out. He told me about CrossFit. I don't know, man. He's been looking like he's been doing some GTO stuff with his life the past 8 or 9 months here. So we're excited to catch up with him. We got KingDan, aka Dan Smith, aka Mr. Shave Head, aka Mr. DFS, aka Danny 912476657 on PokerStars.
98765, dude. It's not that hard. 9-5 backwards.
Well, that's actually a good point. So, all right, KingDan, Dan Smith, what's up, buddy?
I'm wonderful. My cousin just got into town. I've been in San Diego. Things are great.
Kid, look how happy you are, man. You go to San Diego, you're walking around with a permanent smile on the face. You can't like get rid of it. We were chatting before this. I mean,
it's contagious. Like, everyone is happy all the time. It's just, I think weather makes a huge difference. The West Coast vibe is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I said I was coming out for 6 weeks, and everyone laughed at me. And it's like, no, man, you're never gonna leave.
Yeah, I mean, it's from living there. It's I forgot to set the chat box here on the Twitch, but yeah, it's such like the weather's great. The women are great. There's a lot of poker players there. There's a lot of different groups of poker players there. There's the guys that want to go out, 3 nights a week. You got those guys. If you want to do the CrossFit guys, you got the CrossFit guys. If you like the fancy dinner guys, you got the fancy dinner guys. You want the surfing dudes, you got the surfing dudes. You got the live poker players you can hang out with. I mean, there's like a mixture of all the dudes out there. So it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, it has everything you could want. It's really great.
Where should we start, man? I don't know. I got a bunch of topics down. Where do you want to start here, man? Start with San Diego, poker. Let's start with San Diego. So why'd you move to San Diego?
Well, there's 2 big DFS tournaments. One was Sunday, the FanDuel $12 million, 100K buy-in, whatever the fuck it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And next weekend, I have 3 seats into the DraftKings $80,000 extravaganza. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be here for those 2 tournaments, I went to Arizona for Thanksgiving. It's like, I might as well just spend some time out here, And I'm recently single, so I figure there are worse places to be single than San Diego.
Well, if you went to San Diego and you weren't single, you'd probably. I mean, I don't understand how people have a relationship with San Diego. Like, there's some guys, like shout to CTS, Cole South, moved out there with his wife. I don't know how you can do it, man. It's challenging walking around the streets there. It's really challenging.
Different things to different guys, There's some grown-ups out here, though, for sure, that married and a dog and buying a house.
Who's doing that? Poker players?
I think Cole is buying a house.
Of course, Cole's buying. He probably made a house last month. This is like, now might as well buy a house while he's out there spending money on something. So
yeah, and a few of the I've been hanging out with like Dave Schnettler and like some guys who used to play poker, some like do daily fantasy. So a good group of dudes out here.
I didn't even know you were playing daily fantasy until I saw you tweet something out, and you're like, "Oh, won 360,000 this weekend or something like that." I was like, "Wait, when did Dan Smith start playing fantasy too?" It seems like people just kind of sneak into DFS. How'd you start getting into that?
Well, last year, my favorite team is the Giants. I saw they had this tournament for $20 at first place is $1 million, and I'm like, "Well, of course I'm gonna fucking do this." And I mostly was just making Eli to Odell Beckham stacks. And he had a big season last year, and I was winning a little bit. I was getting like my feet wet figuring it out. This year I decided I was going to go hard at it. And then I started winning, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go really hard at it. And I've been firing pretty big, and it's been working out so well. Though this week I got fucking massacred, and it was brutal. I had Andy Dalton in the 100K tournament. He broke his thumb 4 minutes into the game in like a crazy fluke play. And then like my main cash team, another dude messes up his ankle. And then but coming to Monday night, I had like one backdoor sweat. I almost got there. If I had one more cash from Landry last night, it would be $80,000. He doesn't. It was literal any catch would do it because he was at 99 yards. I need the 100-yard bonus for the seat. Brick the 80K, so I just got fucking totally bloodbathed all weekend.
I got to tell you something right now. If we cut out that last 35, 45 seconds of the podcast and I just played it just as a standalone thing, there'd probably be some people that sounded like Japanese to them. They listen to that like, I don't know what the fuck this dude just said. You're talking about backdoor. I mean, backdoor, obviously, we know backdoor means, but you're talking about the football players' names and the points and everything you need. So the cash games, they're like, what is he talking about, man? Daily Fantasy, it's like its own little language, but
that needs to be clarified. Just let me know.
No, I'm just saying they hate the people that whenever we get some DFS guys on in the my 2+2 thread, that some people are like, get these fucking DFS guys out of, like, they're like,
okay, well, if anyone's unhappy that all the terminology I just used, you can take some satisfaction in knowing I lost a fucking boatload of money, like 150,000 this week. And not only that, it happened in like the most heartbreaking fashion. Like I flew in all my boys from home to like sweat this tournament. It was like 10 a.m. We were ready to get real rowdy. And he just broke his thumb so fast, I didn't even get the opportunity to like get excited and sweat it, you know? It's just like, I'm dead. That's the end of the tournament.
Well, I got sympathy for you, buddy. Let me pour a little whiskey right here for you on my carpet. And you know, we hope we got one coming up. You got another one coming up. 3 seats.
3 seats
that one
next week, not 4, but 3's okay. It's $5 million up top. I'm still hopeful.
How many people is in that?
200.
Can I buy a piece?
Yeah, you could have a little sweat. Are you lucky?
I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you my graph.
Yeah. Podcast run good. Yeah.
I'll show you the graph. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I got to be honest with you, man. I don't know. Okay. I run really well.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, we got to figure out this piece later. I'm trying to win piece of this $5 million. So, guys, we're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. I see a lot of great comments on Twitter. A lot of great questions. So we're gonna squeeze them in over time. I just want to squeeze the best one in. You told me before this, which is from Stephen Lyons. He says, "You have final tabled so many WSOP events and can never seal the deal. Do you have the same rate sealing the deal with women too?" Great question, Stephen. Thank you.
It's a great question. I really like when I get hate on Twitter, especially when they're like a little bit clever about it. And I don't like to brag, but I do have better than a 0% success rate with women. And with regards to how I haven't sealed the deal at WSOP events, you know, well, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You know, it happens.
Very, very, very Poker Starsian type answer right there. Nice job, Dan.
What the fuck?
It was like that didn't even tell us anything, man. You said you have a greater than 0% closing rate with women. That was all you told us. You got it. Like,
I don't know. I mean, I haven't been single in a while. In my day, you know, I've had some stories. You know what? I'd slightly prefer to duck this because this is going to get pretty out of hand pretty quickly, you know?
Yeah, man. Let's wait till like later on in the podcast when people stop watching. Let's not do this because your parents are watching right now. Shout out to your parents, obviously. You might be some families watching. Shout out to the stalkers. They're probably watching too. So we got to save that for the end, man. So okay, so DFS is DFS. So what's up with poker? You still playing poker? You're not in what's the 5 Diamonds going on right now in Las Vegas? You're not there. That's probably like an event I feel like you'd go play normally.
I would play it. I actually won it 2 years ago. You know what? I just wanted to really focus for these DFS tournaments. I've been playing a ton of poker for the last several years. Like, my volume isn't the highest, but I play so much. And I was like, you know what? I'm entitled to some time off. And it's not even like total time off. You know, I'm flicking in 200,000 this next weekend into daily fantasy sports. I would like to play, but I'm going to take a few weeks off. My next tournament will be Aussie Millions.
So what have you been doing the past months? I think last time I saw you was EDC in Vegas. So,
well, I went to Burning Man at the beginning of September, and it was hands down the best week of my life.
Well, you also wrote a very epic blog post about your experience there too. It got a lot of traction amongst the peoples in the poker community.
Yeah, it was actually the first thing I've written over 500 words since high school, so it'd been a while, and I really enjoyed writing it. And I kind of was like, you know what, maybe I'll start doing some writing.
And have you wrote anything since?
Nothing formal, but like I've just been better about getting my thoughts on paper to like formulate plans, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for me to write when I have like a big topic of inspiration, and it's like, oh, I'm going to talk about the best week of my life. And it was like really easy to bang out like 7,000 words or whatever it was. I'm open to suggestions that if anyone's like, oh, I'd really like to have this topic covered. But it's just more so like if I'm really torn between options, I'll be more inclined to like write some thoughts down and try to choose a path or something.
Someone asked in the chat, drifting points. Where can we find the blog post? What's the name of your blog? What's the URL?
DanSmithHolla.wordpress.com.
There
I
you
had
go.
to make sure it was WordPress and not Blogspot. But yeah, it is WordPress.
I will put that link in the description for you guys to find later on. And if you guys want to check that out, it's a very long blog post. It's very good. We'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But okay, so poker. So this is interesting. So I kind of asked like a couple poker. We go down a poker route, and then we end up going a different route. You know what I mean? This sounds like it's sort of telling on how your current, maybe your mindset, your approach towards poker is right now.
I've kind of accomplished everything I've wanted to in poker. I still love playing high rollers. When you get to playing ultra high stakes poker is one of like my favorite things to do. But in the interim, like if I were to play online, I don't know really what I would play. I went through a phase this year where I was playing the 2K and 5K sit and goes. I was briefly going for Supernova Elite, rest in peace. I got to 500,000. And I was just like, you know what? I think the rake is too high. The regulars are better than I thought. This isn't what I want to be doing. I just can't really get motivated to play online poker, you know? Like, I don't know what I would play. Online tournaments are kind of small stakes. But I don't really want to be playing like $200 online tournaments when I get to play 100Ks on the like pretty regularly when I play poker, or if on like a random Sunday I have $80,000 down, you know, like then to go to the next day and play like the big 162, it just doesn't really interest me. I'm interested to see how a little bit of time off affects me. I might be really itching to go and get back into poker, or if maybe I'm enjoying the things that San Diego has to offer, I'll focus on that for a little bit.
Do you think it's also a function of you've been having so much success at Daily Fantasy Sports that you don't necessarily need to, like you see a future in that? You're doing well. You got these upcoming competitions. Daily Fantasy Sports, if you play baseball, I mean, it's going to be potentially year round. Obviously, the laws are ever changing.
I only play football.
You only play football. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what they all say, right? And then they start playing baseball when they start missing it.
Yeah. Like I watch the NBA, but when I see people who play, they'll almost always have somebody in a lineup, and it'll be like a backup point guard. I'm like, I don't know who that guy is. But for whatever reason, the other guy wasn't playing, and I wouldn't know. Like, I'm sure I could get that information. I feel like for like the path I want to go on, I'm not necessarily trying to like chase the money train though, really. You know, like I've done pretty well at poker over the last few years. I'm going to see. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to just take it as it comes.
Yeah, man.
I am going to play Aussie Millions and EPT Monte Carlo though this year.
How old are you right now, Dan?
I'm 26.
I mean, yeah, you're kind of at a perfect age right now. You're newly single. You're in San Diego. You're having success. You've done well at poker. You've done well at DFS. If you want to take a little bit of break, or you want to take a little bit of time, maybe figure out something else, find some new hobbies, find something else you like doing. You're in a pretty good position right now to go ahead and do that.
Yeah. I've been pretty busy lately. Me and Dan Coleman have been doing this charity drive, which is also on my blog. We picked out 4 charities, and we're going to be matching $70,000, which means if people from the
okay, that's a lot. Okay, if go ahead.
35K each. People from the internet, they email me receipts saying that they've donated money. We match the charities that they donate to, and hopefully some number bigger than $140,000 gets raised. And like part of the reason I was so excited about it is, okay, if I'm going to be putting in 35K pre-taxes, that's kind of like $20,000 when I get my tax write-off. And if I raise 150-ish, that's like pretty good value.
Sounds like a pretty fun idea. So people can find this on your blog as well, dansmithholla.wordpress.com, right?
Yes, and it's also pinned on my Twitter page, which is also Dan Smith Hollow.
So people send in the receipts of them making a donation to a charity. You match the donation to that charity as well.
Yes, I chose 4 charities. One is the Against Malaria Fund. One is the Massachusetts Bell Fund, which is pretty interesting. People could end up in jail and in a situation where their bail is like $400, but because they can't afford it, they'd have to stay in jail until their court date, which would cause them to miss jobs or work or housing or whatever. So people are forced to take bad deals rather than like pay the $400 they don't have. So the Massachusetts Bail Fund, they will pay the bail for misdemeanors if it's up to $500. It has an incredibly high rate of people returning and getting the bail back. A different bail fund said they get 97% back. So if you think about it, this person for like effectively $15 is the opportunity to like make a huge difference in their life. I think no one should have to like fuck up their life because they can't afford $200 bail. You know, that's just outrageous. And the other one was from Evidence Action. They have a program, Deworm the World. There's an outrageous amount of people, mostly children, who have parasites, and it's unbelievably cheap to treat them. And in some cases, if like there's a village where it's a really high infection rate, it's cheaper just to treat everyone than to like try to tell which people have parasites and which don't. And they're like, well, there's no side effects to the drug. So they're just like mass treating people at like 60 cents a kid with great results. And the 4th charity was MIRI, which is the Machine Intelligence Research Institution. And this one's a little bit out there, I'm going to admit, but smart guys like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking have talked about artificial intelligence becoming a potential threat, and it tries to make sure that it is monitored safely and we progress in like the right way to prevent an AI takeover. And I'm inclined to be like, it's a little bit speculative when I could be deworming children at 70 cents a piece. But on the other hand, these guys are a lot smarter than me. And if they say it's a threat and that we should be throwing money at it, I'm inclined to listen. And the internet has been definitely the most interested in that one. That one's gotten like $30,000 a donation so far.
I think that's the charity. I remember I went to a reg meeting in Vegas this summer with reg is what I mean, I'm not, who's like the poker, is it Liv's like the face? It was a Liv and Igor, and
they're both involved. Yeah, them and Phil Bort, I think, were 3 of the founders, and then there were some guys, I was going to say the business side, but whatever the like the management of it.
Yeah, they talked about that was one thing that they talked about a lot. I never heard about this before. It's the first time I've ever heard about it. And, you know, I've done a little bit of research. As you said, there's a lot of the bigger names are, you know, they talk about it a lot and they're backing that as well, too. I got to say the bail one sort of doesn't quite coincide with the other 3. It seems, you know, it's I don't think a lot of people I know, Cameron Martin, that said people who get arrested might miss work. Boo-hoo.
It's not just missing work. Like you lose your job or if you're in temporary housing or any of a number, like, okay, you plead guilty to a misdemeanor. That means you can't apply to a job because like you have a criminal record. And there's not like a checkbox for, hey, I actually took a bullshit deal because the system was trying to fuck me, but I really shouldn't like have pled guilty. It's just like, no, I have committed a crime, and then you're no longer eligible.
How did you get turned down to this? Did something happen with you or something happened with a family member?
No, actually, while I was at Burning Man, the sun was coming up one day. We were talking about ways that we could like improve the world, because it was like so much like ridiculous beauty. And I will concede there were plenty of performance enhancers that made such things a little bit more beautiful. But it was just and like being around all that positivity, it was like, okay, I'm in a position to make a difference. And I was trying to brainstorm how I could do that. And I was thinking about how the prison system is just, it's totally fucked. And I was thinking like, okay, pretend I wanted to donate, like me and a couple of guys pulled together $50,000. What could we do? Sorry, my phone buzzed. What
single, man, it's fine. It happens. It's okay.
And I came to the conclusion that the system was so fucked that if I donated $50,000, I'd be effectively torching it on fire, and like no real change can be made. Like there's such big numbers in play. So I was like, So at the Donnie Stern wedding, which, quick aside, was like as fun it could possibly have been. We should talk about that later. I talked to Ariel, who you had on the podcast.
Foxwood Fiend, shout out to him.
Big shout
out. Okay.
Like,
makes sense.
How should I go about it? And he like immediately told me this plan. He gave me a few ideas, and I'm like, I like this plan. I just got a message, someone asking what payments can I take for the charity thing. That was Jason Lavalley, what up? If he'd read my blog post and hadn't been to, no, I'm just kidding. I shouldn't hate on somebody who's trying to do good. I do like busting Jason's balls, though. He could send me PokerStars, Venmo, bank transfer. He could send directly to the sites. I do explain all the options in my blog, but all of the obvious ways that you could pay. You could PayPal to the charity. You could wire. And if you're good for the money, you can just be like, yo, Dan, I'm going to get you money when I see you. And I'll be like, that'd be cool, too.
So for those who don't know, Foxwood Fiend had him on a podcast earlier this year. He's a lawyer in New York, and he works
public defender.
He works around the same exact. This is basically a sort of thing he talked about during the podcast. He talked about dealing with these people that end up in these fucked up situations, and they have no other option, so they have to take, they take some deal, and they're fucked for their life. Yeah,
I saw This Week Tonight on John Oliver on the topic, and it was just like, man, it's heartbreaking.
So I just want to put myself in the spot you're in. So you're at Burning Man, right? The sun's coming up, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 6 a.m., something like that. So you're just sitting down there and you start thinking about this. Like this is what came to mind.
I mean, I was away from like not having my cell phone. I get so many messages like every day about buying pieces or this and that, and I have the need to be on my phone all the time, and I fucking hate it. There was no phone. It was just like a week in the desert with like positivity, and it's just like you could really make of it whatever you want. And I got the opportunity to spend some time with some like really smart people. And when you have that many hours with someone, I kind of feel like you get the opportunity to talk about some of the stuff that you overlook in like regular life, But when you're trying to talk about like meaning of life or like discussing like what do you think love is, or like relationships, does monogamy make sense, or this or that, like you have the opportunity. It's a week with no distractions. You could talk about all of the things you wanted to. And this charity project is something I had on my mind for a while, but it wasn't until I took a bunch of ecstasy and was talking about how the world's a beautiful place and just like all that jazz that I just started spouting my mouth about how I'm going to change the world. And then I'm like, now that I did it in front of all my friends, I better back it up,
I mean, I'm with it. We've all done some ecstasy in our time. We don't hear many people talk this open about doing ecstasy in our time, though. That's the difference.
About it. I'm like, you know what? If there's anyone who asked me if I had done it, I wouldn't be. Actually, they're not anyone. That's not true. But for the most part, if someone's gonna have a huge issue with it, I probably wouldn't get along with them too great anyway.
No, I'm with you. I agree completely. I mean, I normally I'm pretty open about, trying things in the past and getting in some situations that, in retrospect might not have been GTO, but
you got to take it once.
It's an experience, man. It's we got a lot of questions. I wish that we got these questions in earlier on Twitter. I gotta start having future guests do that. Who we got here commenting? Let's see. Senton. Oh, he's suggesting topics. We'll get to that. All right, Dan O'Brien. Well, that's this one. What did you have when you tank shoved River against me 2 years ago when you won WPT 5 Diamond?
Honestly, Dan, I'm a little bit offended. You could ask me anything in the world. I thought we had some like good bonding at Burning Man. You're going back to some like hand in the past. I'm gonna duck the question.
Sorry, Dan.
It's some weak sauce.
It's a weak question. Showers for Dan.
Yeah.
We'll give him another chance. Can he get another chance on Twitter if he's got another question potentially?
He could ask me whatever he likes. My heart's kind of it's a little bit broken, He thinks that like our relationship is only in that way. Like, I don't know. But he can ask me whatever he likes, and maybe I'll get to it.
Okay.
I don't know why you think the play, like if I had like more people around rather than just telling him one-on-one, I'd be more likely to do it.
Maybe he thinks the pressure of me asking you the question might force you into feeling like you got to say.
That's just a terrible read.
Nice hand. I got to tap the table. Nice hand. Nice hand. Let's see. Andreas, my buddy Skedvoice says, Andreas Tobiasen, thoughts on real kid poker new blog and Canoe resignation of Poker Stars. Yeah. So for those that don't know, Canoe, what's Canoe? I only know people by their poker name.
Alexander Miller.
I think it's Alexander Miller. So he's a high stakes heads of Nolan player, plays some 6-max as well.
He's not just like some player. He's like one of the best of all time. We got to give him some props.
One of the best of all time at high stakes heads of Nolan.
I think like now he's not like one of the best at heads up, but like in terms of I mean, if you're not playing it every day, it's like it's a fickle thing. He was absolutely super great at heads up at a time, and in these 6-max games, I think he's still like clearly one of the best. I'm a fan.
All right, one of the all-time best heads up Nolan players who now focuses more maybe on 6-max and might still be at the high level of 6-max, but might not be at higher level at heads up, who was also sponsored by PokerStars Team Online Pro. He announced his resignation on Twitter today, and that's been a little bit topic. He's like the first player, I guess Vicky Corin did this as well, but he's the first guy that sort of come out and now he said, he doesn't like the way the company's going and all that type of stuff. So what do you think about that, man? And if you were sponsored by PokerStars, would you do the same thing right now with all they got going on?
I don't think it's such a black and white question. There is an amount of money that I could be paid where I would feel obligated to take it and just fucking sell their shit sandwiches just because it's like, you know what, let's pretend they were paying me $10 million a year. Even if I didn't approve of what they were doing, I can just make such a difference with that money that I think it would be selfish not to, and I would have like an obligation to. If I didn't have a great deal, I would be inclined to think I wouldn't want to be represented by them or representing them. I do really respect that Daniel went to bat for us. He stuck his head on the line. Like one of PokerStars' biggest guys coming on your show to talk about going on the strike, like that's a balls. Like obviously PokerStars doesn't want him to do that. I think he was probably too quick to believe what PokerStars was telling him. Like, he seems really optimistic about changes coming that are good for poker. And it's like, I think that's what his bosses told him. And like, you know what? This was such a colossal fuck up that we need some receipts, Yes, I thought the blog post, I thought it was a weak blog post after he put together a very strong performance where he was going to bat for us.
So I was reading the thread today, one of the many news gossip threads on 2+2, and somebody actually linked to. You remember the Epic Poker League, Dan? Did you play in that at all?
I did not qualify for it. My run started just as Andy Duke stole the money and yada yada. So
someone posted a video, I guess that Daniel made a couple years ago talking about it, and basically what he was saying, what they did when they took away this $1 million free roll, and he was saying, players wouldn't have played in these tournaments because if they didn't think they could get to the free roll, that was why they put this work in. That's why they paid the money to play these tournaments. And people were saying, this is basically just like the PokerStars situation now. These players were promised these rewards for Stream Global Elite, and they were just taken away. And at the time, Daniel was very, very against, obviously, what happened with that Poker League. And now, during this moment in time, it's a different story from him. So this is the first I've heard about this. The first time I read about this, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. And I'm blanking on the guy's name. There's one PR guy I'm getting into a little bit on Twitter.
Eric Holreiser.
Yes. Fuck that guy. I don't appreciate, if he's going to be like, there's just no way he believes any of the things he's saying, And it's just like, it's really insulting our intelligence. I don't appreciate that they were. Now that I'm getting angry, I'm going to be like less capable of making like getting my point across well. And one of the things in my blog I talked about is like starting to meditate. I can maintain my calm and like speak rationally in these situations. But I'm getting a little bit fired up. I don't appreciate that they are insulting our intelligence. Like they're pretending that it is in our best interest when it's clearly like, guys, it's clearly not in anyone's best interest. You're trying to put money in your pocket. If you were just going to be like upfront about it, I'd be like more accepting. What I find like really like frustrating about the matter is I think they are making a very bad decision for like for their own games, you know? And I think the guys making this decision just don't understand poker well enough to like they can't accurately make this call. And so it hurts that it's just like these guys with all of the power, they are hurting themselves, and they are like, honestly, as an MTT player, I don't think it really affects me, but it's just more so as like an integrity thing. I don't like it.
So do you think from Eric Holreiser's perspective, he's sort of, you know, he's like the company man. He's the guy who, like, he might not be making many decisions himself. He probably has input, but I don't necessarily think he's got this, you know, type of power. Like, he's just doing his job. You know, yeah, he's got to release this statement. Obviously, it could have been done better, but, you know, he could have done more. But, I mean, you know,
that statement he wrote was just unbelievably outrageous. And it's also, I don't like that he's, like, selectively going into questions. And I think the last I saw, Johnny asked him like a very straightforward question. He's like, I will look through the forum post to come up with that. And just like, come on, dude. Or when he said that it was the changes were good for 98% of players, I would really like to see how they come up with that data, because it's obviously bullshit. I think if they were to like show me or somebody else the data, it wouldn't be that hard to debunk. And maybe, I don't know what percent of players are play money. I haven't really looked into this. Pure speculation. I wouldn't be surprised if they were counting like the overwhelming majority of like play money accounts into this or something along those lines. Because there's no way that it's an accurate number. I'm gonna get a glass of water, take a deep breath. I'll be right.
All right, let's get some shout outs, man. Who we got in the chat today, man? Who we got in the chat? Last podcast with Mason Malmuth, you know, I'm a little hesitant to get some shout outs when Mason's in the zone. So, oh, that was a fast water, Poppy.
It's right over there.
Oh, well, I can't even get, I gotta give 4 shout outs though. I just promised a couple of shout outs there. Who we got in the chat?
As many shout outs as you like. I'm happy to calm down a little bit.
All right. We got Lost in Poker. What's up, buddy? Thank you as always for tuning in. Thank you as always for the great comments so far. Let's see what we got on YouTube here. Cameron Martin. What's up, Cameron? Bacardi Bum. Bacardi Bum. What up, puppy? Calzo 94. Escobar. My name ain't Earl. Sir Chillington. All right. We're going to get back into it, man.
How many people are watching this thing?
That watch it live? I'm not sure. A couple hundred watching live, and then a couple thousand will watch it back on replay, I think. I think the first one we did. I don't know. Let me check it out, actually.
I want to give you props. It's really cool to see this come along, and you're getting you've had some like spectacular guests. It's cool to see that this whole thing progress.
Fun, man. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, it's sort of like a video game. You know, you just like you try out different things. You get people. I don't know. It's pretty fun. It's fun to do. You know, I think I told you this before we got started. You were the first tournament player I had on. I was like, when I first started this podcast, I'm like, only PLO guys. And after that, I'm like, all right, maybe some no limit guys, but no tournament players. Because, you know, tournament players, like, no shots at tournament players. But, I mean, you know tournament players. They're a little, they're a little bit different than cash game players online. So
I want to argue with you, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so, you know, but once I had you on, I got a little bit more into the idea of tournament players, and I started having on guys like PLP, Pussy Lovin' Pertush Badiga, and Fedor. So I've grown to actually really start to like some tournament players.
Okay. Do you have any guys that are on your shit list?
Nah, I mean, not really. I stay pretty positive about most people. Dale Rue, some guy named Dale Rue, he used to be sponsored by PokerStars, and he was the worst PLO player of all time. He's on my shit list. But besides him, no, who's on your shit list, Dan? Who do you got on there right now?
I used to have when I would play a World Series event, I would be overwhelmingly likely to like have an enemy by the time I was done. It hasn't been so much the case. Honest, I don't have anyone at the moment that I would really want to like throw under the bus, you know? I had some debts of like people that I would be inclined to be like, fuck this motherfucker. But people have started making good. I don't know.
What about Jason Mose in the chat says, I'm on Dan's shit list. He's on everyone's shit list, isn't he? Not mine, but I like the kid.
I like gambling against Jason. And it's just like, you know what? If we're watching a match and it's like, man, I want to get a big crossbook going. Like, I respect that JMO is a guy who'll put his money where his mouth is, he'll fire. But I'm not going to lie. JMO's a bit of a cunt sometimes.
You just reminded me, Jason Mo owes me money from a crossbook I made with Lafort and WCG Ryder. I took Lafort heads up, he took WCG Ryder, and Lafort won. Hold on, that's a good thank you. Dan, thank you for pointing this out. I thought the crossbook, my friend. I appreciate that.
Boom.
Thank you very much. Any chance I get to bet on Lafort, I definitely would bet on Lafort. Were you up in Toronto before this?
I was in Toronto up until Thanksgiving.
And how did you like your experience up there?
I lived in Toronto for 4 years. I wasn't crazy about it. It was a place where I could play poker. The winters were so long and so brutal. I thought it was an okay city. And like in months where the weather is good, I enjoyed it. But last year I spent a month in Austin. And granted, like I was on vacation, so of course it was fun. But I had an unbelievable time and immediately felt like home. And I've just been like thinking recently about like how I want my life to go. And poker has been going too well the last couple of years for me to live in a city that I'm not crazy about, you know? And it is hard to live somewhere, like there aren't that many options to play online poker. So it's like, you know what? I could take a few months off and it'll be okay. And I wanted to spend some time here, maybe a little time in San Francisco, see if anywhere really caught my fancy and I'd be inclined to stay here for a bit.
That makes sense. What do you think about San Francisco compared to San Diego?
This was my first stop. I've gone to San Francisco a few times. I have some great friends there and I've always had an unbelievable time. And Burning Man, actually, I was like, everyone I met at Burning Man was like, oh, I'm from San Francisco. And it's like, well, these are people that I enjoy hanging out with. Maybe it's a place I should spend some more time. And I will say, San Francisco is such a cool city. Like, there's so much to do. Every scene is there. The food is awesome. I'm a huge fan.
Well, even if you're in San Diego, you could always take you could take I-15 down to Mexico, get a place maybe in an office building down there with some of the other San Diego guys who play from the office, and you could still get in some online competition if you'd like to as well.
It's not the worst idea. I don't know what I would play, given that my main concern isn't really making money. I have fun playing mixed games, so maybe that's what I would play. I enjoy playing tournaments when they're big stakes, but I just can't get excited for the regular set of Sunday tournaments when I'm used to gambling so much bigger now, you know?
Dan, let me tell you about a game that has some high stakes action, right? Let me tell you about this game. It's a great game, okay?
Okay.
Let me tell you about this, Dan. So let me tell you how it works. You get cards. It's like Hold'em. You played Hold'em, right? You're a Hold'em player, correct?
Yeah, with 2 cards, I'm pretty good.
You get 2 cards, right? Tell you what if they give you 4 cards, Dan? They give you 4 cards. Get this. They give you 2 extra cards. I mean, you know how many hands you make. You seem like you like to play hands. So imagine a game where you got 4 cards and you could make more hands, but they also had action at the higher stakes online. If I told you a game like this existed, would you try it? Would you be in?
I'm not really a guy for hypotheticals, you know. I don't know where we're going with this.
Well, the game's Palm in Omaha, Dan.
Okay.
Palm in Omaha, man. The games are going. They're waiting for you, man. They're waiting. They want to play. The guys, I mean, they're kind of getting nittier now, but they like to gamble.
I'm definitely considering it. I couldn't play and just be kind of scrubby at it, you know. So if I were to do it, it would become like a new massive obsession. And now I'm thinking like, well, is that really what I want to do? Is to try to take over the PLO streets? And I have my feet wet in the PLO streets. I have some pieces of some guys who play, and it's like, you know what? If I ever really wanted to, I could watch and get some of the thrill.
Or are you friends with Isaac Hollywood Haxton?
I am good friends with Isaac Hollywood Haxton.
Well, I mean, he's been known. He was a guy who, made the switch over, really put in a lot of work, grinded hard, got a nice machine, and he's had a lot of great results over this past couple years. So he's obviously a great resource to be able to talk to about PLO too. I
am a big Ike fan, and I've probably learned more poker from Ike than anyone. Oh, you're looking sharp. But I've learned more poker from Ike than probably anyone else. Don't have enough good things to say about him.
If he's one of the guys that lets you buy action from him in these games, then you're on the right track for sure.
I haven't been getting the PLO action as of late. We trade in like the high rollers. We actually went through a phase where he and I were trying to like cross book anyone that would take us. And there have been a couple of times I've gotten like a little piece of him in like the Macau games, but unfortunately Ike's pretty big time and is not somebody who's going out of his way to sell pieces.
Are you surprised that Ike hasn't really said much about the PokerStar stuff at all?
I mean, no. What do you think he should say?
Listen, I don't know what do you think he should say, but people out there, he's usually been pretty vocal in the past about different situations. So I think a lot of people are surprised that he hasn't said anything about it.
He is an employee of PokerStars, and he's not supposed to speak out against his company. I am inclined to think I have nothing against it, but I'm also, given that he and I are good friends, I am a little bit biased. But I don't, like I was saying before, it really depends on the situation, I think Ike also thinks he might be in a situation to help make some changes. I don't know whether that's the case, or I don't know if he does believe that, but
that makes sense. I think Daniel echoed a sentiment similar to that when he said, if I resign, well, then I can't have a potentially positive impact on the future. And now that I know these changes happen like this, now I can be more involved in the future. And I know that was a reason I believe he said that, why would I resign? Why would I want to quit working for them when I could have an impact? So maybe Ike does feel like that way as well.
I did see some PMs from this potential guy. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I'm talking about potential, AKA Ryan LaPlante, correct?
Yes. And I think posting the private conversations is not so much on the up and up. Daniel did say he was going to resign. I don't know.
So for those that don't know what Dan's talking about, Ryan, I've had him on the podcast before too. Shout out to Ryan. He posted a conversation him and Dan Negrano had through, I believe, Twitter direct messages and in messages. I actually get to see the official ones that got deleted, but allegedly Dan Negrano told him that he would resign if the changes didn't go through. So Ryan made some comments on Twitter, called him out, said something about integrity and some stuff like that. I don't have the exact words written down in my mind right now, but yeah, there was a little bit of
wait, these were deleted?
I mean, I don't know where they're at. I couldn't see them. I saw they were posted, and then I went to
whether the guy changed his mind or I don't. I'd be curious about that, and now I feel slightly bad for bringing that up, but. I didn't think things get taken off the internet,
I mean, I'm sure I could have found them if I maybe did a little bit of digging or asked someone on Skype or something. But I clicked on the link that he had on Gyazo, Gyazo, and I clicked on it. It wasn't there. So I'm like, I looked at some conversation that was going back and forth with people, and that was sort of my reading it. So
I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And we were talking about Daniel. I do think he's like kind of far removed from the situation. Like I just think, I don't think that anyone could like objectively look and like appreciate that no one could beat No Limit 100. It's just like more or less unbeatable. Maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but they're raking it like double-digit big blinds per 100, like maybe like 18. You have to be able to win to make poker a different game. I got into poker with the idea of like, I wanted to become like a high-stakes superstar, you know? Like early on, I'd be like watching Ivy play SB Rugby, ABBA, and I'm like, oh, this is sick.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, I went in and was like, you know what? I want to become like one of these guys, and it's like I'm going to play and move my way up the ranks until I do it. And I think a lot of people play poker because of that, and the majority fail, you know, but you have to have like that dream alive for people to play.
I want to go back to what we were just talking about before with the private message stuff. So I had Mason mail me from the podcast the other day. What people in the chat are asking about, this is different. That was a Skype group conversation in a separate Skype group. This was actual direct message conversation people hit Ryan and Daniel were having on Twitter. And I got to say, I mean, I'm not a big fan. Like, I say some crazy shit, sometimes in messages, sometimes like, I'm just not a big fan of that, man. Like, post the private messages, the private discussion you and another person are having. Like, unless it's like, not many instances where I feel like that's, that's really in line.
Well, I do agree with you. It was probably also poor judgment on Daniel's part to have such an open discussion with someone who's not like tight with,
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I guess that's the risk you run sometimes if you, when you're playing at these type of higher stakes like he's playing at and you have these conversations with different people, sometimes obviously you saw that get out twice. There was the Skype group and then there was that. So I guess that's sort of the risk you take here. But back to what you said about you used to, watch Phil Abbey play ABBA, SB Rugby, Brian Townsend, shout out to Brian Townsend. That was sort of like what fueled the dream, what fueled the motivation for you. And I mean, for me personally, I made my screen name Joe Ingram 1 because I used to watch the guys on the red names on Full Tilt. I'm like, fuck, man, I want to be my name too. I'm going to make it my name. Like I want it to be like that too. That was awesome. But do you feel like these days that really even exists in the high stakes world? I mean, let's take a look. You see a guy like Ben 86. Okay. You listen to him on the podcast. If you're some guy out there, you watch Ben 86, are you like, I want to be like Ben 86? You're probably like, there's no fucking way I'm going to be like Ben 86. So whereas before, maybe back in the day, maybe poker.
You're not going to be Ben 86, but you could be like some mid stakes guy, who is like doing well.
But now you see the difference.
Like current examples, but becoming the actual world champion is going to be pretty tough, but it's also not entirely impossible. I think these changes won't really have much of an effect for tournaments because it might even possibly be good for me because it'll prevent like other pros from being able to make their way up the ranks into the super high rollers, So then it leaves some like it's a high cost to entry. It's really hard to become one of those guys who starts playing. And granted, they are like people like to talk about how soft they are, and I think the edges are pretty big. But in the scheme of things, if you play one of these things, you're going to have a lot of great players at your table, especially late. But if you're not able to like grind like 5-10 to 25-50 no limit, these guys aren't going to get into the high rollers, and like tournaments are going to be fine. The rake is not such a huge concern in MTTs.
It's actually an interesting point about if some of these guys stop playing so much online, maybe they'll get more into tournaments and they'll get more into the high rollers, and that might actually be good for current. It's good for potentially good for a very small subsection of poker, I guess you could say.
I think that MTTs are doing very well, and I don't see any reason why that would change. There are some guys who have a lot of money who seem to really enjoy playing tournaments. Like the WPT in Vegas got an unbelievable turnout. I don't know what the numbers are, but it was like a big number. I think tournaments are doing pretty well.
I think so. I want to give a shout out to one guy in the chat from Morocco, allegedly. His name is Sidi Kesot Quesoini coming straight from Morocco, allegedly. And he said, Chicago Joey, the fucking man. Yo, much love to this guy from Morocco, man. Much love. If I'm ever in Morocco, I'll be sure to come over and we'll go out. We'll go Morocco girl grinding, my friend. JMO on Twitter says, list the people you would like to crossbook. Ike, Hollywood Haxton in live multi-table tournaments might get some gambles in. So there you go. You're already getting some more action here from JMO.
I think you should just throw some people at me. Like it's a short list of people who won't be getting action, you know?
Who's on the short list of people that won't be getting action?
It's probably like slightly not in my best interest to disclose who the best people are, but whatever. No. I'm gonna make a mistake. I'm just gonna point out that I am making a mistake.
Okay.
Fish 2013, I think he is likely to become like one of the absolute best. I remember when I played a lot of 5K Singos with him, and I was originally thinking, like, this guy hasn't played tournaments before. He's not going to know how to do. There are, like, certain things to tournaments, like short stacking, ICM, yada, yada. I mean, he picked it up really fast. I'm not sure where he ranks in terms of the absolute best high stakes no limit players these days. I would assume it's up there. I think I haven't played much live with him, but I would assume he's going to be pretty good at it at the live element. It's a changing view of who I think are the best. Like there are times when I'm like, you know what? Poker is about having good fundamentals, playing theoretically sound, and just like there'll be times when I'd be inclined to think like some of the theory guys are definitely the best players. Then other times when I'm playing live, I'm like, you know what? Fuck theory. Live poker's about like looking at a guy and making like outrageous hero calls and like knowing just when to go for it. And sample sizes are so small, I think it is really tough to like make this judgment. While we're talking about crossbooks, like I've seen JMO talk a bunch of shit to my buddy Scott Seaver before, talk about how bad he is, and then when I gave him the opportunity to crossbook, he backed out. So I'm just gonna say that was some weak shit. Bang bang.
Sounds very similar to his allegation that he made that he only flies first class, and then he was spotted not in first class on a plane flight with a receipt shown. So maybe this is like a trend for JMO. I don't know. When we get him back on the pod, we got to ask him about this. So he talked some shit to Scott Seaver, gave him a chance to crossbook, didn't want to do it, been spotted, not in first class after making allegations he only flight first class.
And it's also just like, you know what? He like kind of bullies Scott on the internet, and they get seated next to each other in a tournament, and he's like nice to him. I think that's kind of inconsistent, you know? Like the internet is a real thing, and I think the way that you conduct yourself should be consistent.
So if you're bullying someone on Twitter, you should be bullying them in real life is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with that. You don't bully anybody on Twitter, right? Pretty nice guy.
I like to bust my friends' balls, but I try not, like, I don't see benefit to bullying people, you know? I like to I think there's like a line. And if I am not like a big fan of a person, I'll be inclined to like call them out. I'm not shy about that, but in general, no, I try not to bully people.
We have a shout out again and shout dance to cousin in the background. First time on the West Coast.
How's it going?
My cousin Matt.
What's
I tell the world something amazing that I've discovered since being in San Diego. I've discovered that San Diego is the white girl with dreadlocks capital of the US of A. Since I've been here, I've seen like half of the people I've seen have been white.
That can't be true. I think your ratio is off, man.
The only other place in the world where I've seen this many white people with dreadlocks is Tel Aviv.
Really? I mean, I never noticed
these white people with dreadlocks.
Dude, it's very, very noticeable.
My cousin has great integrity. If he says he saw these people, we don't even need receipts. I think.
So if your cousin tells me half the people he's seen in San Diego are white girls with dreadlocks, we're gonna take that. I gotta see the receipt, Poppy. I gotta listen. You got it. I'm gonna send you a camera. Go out there, find. I want to see.
I've seen multiple.
Okay, I'm gonna poke my head out the window. All right. No one's out yet.
That's what's amazing. I've hardly seen anyone, but the only people I've really seen are white people with dreadlocks.
What's your view like, Dan? Can we see it a little bit?
I am on the first floor of this condo building, which some people are. I mean, can you see anything?
I can see your chest hair. Nope.
Okay, I have like a balcony outside.
Oh.
Oh, there's some drug smoking devices.
Come on, put those away, kid. It's against TOS.
Oh, is there a balcony out here?
Yeah.
What? This is dope.
So I've been here for like 2 weeks, and I've had a ton of people visiting me, and it's just like I lived in Toronto for 4 years, and like a handful of people did, but like my entire 6-week stay here has been booked with people coming out. People seem very excited about it.
Oh yeah, never mind. You showed me the building. I asked you what building you live in. You sent it to me on online. You live in a cool location, right downtown, right a couple blocks away from like the downtown gas lamp area.
Yeah, I really like the bar scene here, and you can go out every night of the week, and it's good.
Where have you been?
My go-to spot has been Barley Mash, but there's a bunch of bars in that. You know Barley Mash.
Yeah, I know Barley Mash. Yeah.
Like every night of the week, it's good. I really like that I can go out on like a Tuesday or a Thursday. I'm not going out on Saturdays because I'm waking up at 7 in the morning to play DFS. But yeah, like, I don't have other go-to spots. I've been like spreading it out, but I've liked most of the places I've gone.
Do you have a go-to a GTO date spot you take the dates to?
You mark my words, Dan will go on a date with a white girl with dreadlocks while I'm here. I'll make it happen.
I don't have a go-to spot yet, and I will try to make the white girl with dreadlocks thing happen, but I haven't seen any yet.
He hasn't been looking for it. And now that he's
okay.
Now that I mention it, he will see it everywhere. I promise you.
So you're telling us you're going to go on a date with a white girl with dreadlocks?
If they're out there, I'll do it.
Okay.
I haven't, but I mean, I've been here for 2 weeks and I haven't. Matt is bringing up the point that they've been there and I've just been missing it, and I am so pretty unobservant.
He's been so focused on his DraftKings app on his phone, he hasn't been looking up to see the white girls with dreadlocks all around him.
Bang bang. That's what it is, Dan, huh? Been focused on walking around the phone in your hand, like DraftKings, swiping updates every minute or something, or what?
Well, actually, it's more so I'm getting Postmates delivered to that balcony, and I'm doing the DraftKings from over here.
JMO on Twitter says, also, last time I cross-booked against Scott, I wanted to go bigger, and you and your bros sat out.
Okay. Respect.
Oh!
Whoa. This was like one instance. I don't see any reason why not to be open about it. I bet 300, 600 worth on Scott against Jay Lama, and he wanted to go bigger. I will say, like, respect, like, that's high stakes, and you wanted to back your boy. But also, it's not like I was talking shit about how this other dude sucked on Twitter and not willing to bet on it. And like, Scott's a live pro now, you know, like, and it's also hard for me to venture out. Like, I am new in the mixed game street, so it's hard for me to venture out who's good and not. I think JMO might be slightly offended that I called him a cunt, so maybe that was a little bit over the line. It goes against the no bullying stance I took, so I'll apologize. I'll try to keep it together.
Let me find some other Twitter questions.
Okay. I'm gonna read a tweet.
You got a tweet? Let's see it.
No, from JMO. LOL, such hate. I love Scott Seaver. That puffy motherfucker is great. I'm just saying, I don't think you would ever call him a puffy motherfucker in person, you know? But
yeah, I don't think so.
That's just me.
All right, let's see what we got here. Manny Mofo. What up, Manny Mofo? Puppy says, if you had to live in the U.S. without online poker and only $5,000, would you grind low stakes or do something else?
Do I have my current skill set in like this scenario?
No.
So if I had $5,000, what would I do?
Would you grind those steaks or do something else?
I mean, it depends, you know. If playing poker was my favorite thing in the world and I was making like $20 an hour playing 1-2 no limit, I'd probably do that a lot. Like, but it also, like in these hypotheticals, I think a lot depends on whether you're a 19-year-old kid who's not going to college or whether you're married with kids, and there are situations. I would say generally it's probably not like the greatest time to try to get into poker professionally. But on the other hand, one of my good friends from home was like, oh, Dan's doing well at gambling. I'm going to start gambling. And he like worked his way off the streets and now he's making like a good living for himself, you know? If I had my current skill set, I would definitely take that 5K and run it up. If I had never played poker before, who knows? And it's kind of hard for me to say. I've been playing poker for 10 years. And I've been spending like a huge percent of my energy getting great at poker. So it's kind of hard for me to like have a different perspective, you know? Sorry for not being fun on the hypothetical. If you, whatever this, I don't know where this guy shot the question from, but if he gives more details, I'd be happy to give a better answer.
There you go. I see A.E. Jones on Twitter said, where should I tweet the questions during the show? I can't have the guests prepping for them. Well, A.E. Jones, you can tweet them in here. We're going to have A.E. Jones on a podcast very soon. A.E.
Wow.
Motherfucking Jones will be on the podcast. We're going to figure out a date. Hopefully we'll get it done this month. And we'll talk a little DFS, talk a little NBA. I just want to talk NBA. I got to be honest with you. I don't want to talk anything else.
I really like talking NBA with Aaron. He gets excited about it. He's knowledgeable and it's sweet.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from people. Or he's really when he's watching a game, you know, he's like thinking about it in a perspective that, you know, no one else really thinks about when they're watching games. And, you know, when I watch basketball, I feel like I try to think about it a lot too. So I think it's going to be fun.
The NBA is like especially great this year. And like, obviously the Warriors are in the like discussion of like best teams of all time. People are like kind of forgetting how good the Cavs and Spurs are.
I mean, I agree. I think the Cavaliers haven't even had their full roster, and they're still first in the East.
Yeah,
and the Spurs are obviously second best record right now. They're doing extremely well too. In a normal season, they're easily the best team.
Yeah, and they're. My buddy told me today that Golden State doesn't even have the best point differential anymore. So that's a little bit skewed because the Spurs beat the Sixers by like 50 or whatever the fuck it was. But yeah, I think it's actually, I was gonna say like it's a good year for NBA. I just think like sports in general are like all there. I kind of got off like the major league sports, but I think they're all pretty good. Maybe I'm biased because I have so much money in play on NFL season that even though the Giants are 6-7, I'm having a ball. But yeah, I think NBA is great. This is the first year I watched baseball in many years. I got on the Toronto bandwagon. The postseason was fucking wild, dude.
Yeah, I think the Toronto Blue Jays bandwagon was a great time to get on the bandwagon, considering they went so far this year in the playoffs.
Yeah, they made a few moves around the postseason, the trade deadline, started winning, and the environment for like the first home game was unlike any sporting event I've ever been to. I went when the Yankees played the Phillies in Philadelphia. I went to the game wearing all my Yankee stuff, and honestly, it was pretty tame. I went to first game of the postseason with the Blue Jays, and people were like fired up and ready to go.
So what are you trying to say about Philadelphia?
I don't have anything nice to say about Philadelphia. Sorry,
Nothing nice at all. Like
I used to play a lot of chess tournaments in Philly. That holds a special place in my heart.
It's kind of interesting you say that, Dan. I was just playing chess in Philadelphia last weekend. I was in an intense chess match. Not quite grandmaster level, my opponent, but it was a very intense chess match all for over the whole entire weekend. It's fun. It's really odd you should say that.
I would love to hear about your chess match.
You know, it was a struggle, honestly. I mean, we took a video, you know, people always post those videos of chess matches online on YouTube, and they like go over it and they say, oh, that was a really good move. And I feel like some good moves were made by me. My opponent made some great counter moves as well. And overall, it was just a very competitive match. It ended up in a draw, and you know, we're going to be continuing the match sometime in the near future. So I'm pretty excited about that.
How common of a result is a draw?
I feel like for me, I end up getting a lot of draws most of the time. So it's yeah, I don't know. It's not common for you.
Ties, I feel like, are like the exception. You know, hard to be exactly even.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I feel like I play some very evenly, you know, I feel it's like a give and take a lot of my matches. You know, I'm giving a little bit, I'm taking a little bit, like, you know, I'm getting the edge in some spots, they're getting the edge in some spots. But at the end, we both try to get, you know, we will try to make really good plays, and then we just ends up in a draw. So it's tough.
That's how chess goes.
Right? It's I don't know, man. You been playing a lot of chess lately?
I haven't been on any dates since being single. It's only been like 2 weeks. And
wait a second, what? You've only been single for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, aren't you in mourning, puppy?
I mean, it's not the easiest, you know. I think it was ultimately the right decision, and I would kind of prefer not to talk about it just because, like,
2 weeks
watching, or, you know, I'm usually pretty open, but this is just something I'm not super excited to.
We'll talk about it in 1 year.
I mean, JMO's going to be on Twitter bullying me about it, you know.
I mean, I was not. I almost said something. I almost said something. I'm not going to say it. Never mind. I'm gonna wash the thought out of my mind what I wanted to just say. That, man, you set me up perfectly for that one. But let me go find another question on Twitter.
Okay.
Sean D, when did you decide to go pro full time?
Okay, so I did 1 year of college, and I didn't really enjoy it. I was paying for it on my own, and I was like on the fence about what to do. I had rented a beach house, which was pretty legendary, with me, Lucky Chewy, Zugwat, and Randall Flowers. We threw some like rowdy parties, and the cops were coming like 3 times a week. Long story short, we got evicted. So it's like, okay, I have like a couple more weeks of summer. Like, what are we going to do? We end up going to Turning Stone. I went for the series. On the way back from Turning Stone, I stop at Sean Deep's house, and it's me, Sean, and Sean's like 90-year-old grandmother, who's a total sweetheart. At this table, Deep is trying to convince me that school is stupid, and like Graham is trying to like talk about the merits of it. And at the time, I was like, you know what? You're right. Fuck it. I'm gonna go to Europe. I'm gonna play some EPTs. I'm gonna try to make it happen. And that's kind of where the decision was made. And I had a few more weeks left before I was going to live near school but not go to school. But because I'd gotten evicted, I had nowhere to live. So me and Too Fat ended up going to Cancun for a couple weeks and just like lived at this resort for a while until I moved to Maryland. Oops.
You're like a low key. No, people probably wouldn't put you in like the people who are, you know, really living life on the poker side and partying and having a good time. But man, I
was just talking about like getting rowdy at Burning Man. You know, I go through periods where like I super focus on work, and I think I think I perform best when I go through like I'm gonna like focus hardcore on work for like months at end, and then when that's done, it's like, okay, now I'm gonna like focus on other things, whether it's like party or chasing girls or like whatever. I try to like have periods of time, you know. I don't remember if I came up with this or someone said it to me. Maybe Tony's theory. I think it's really easy to have 2 things at a time. You could have like be healthy and like making progress in that regard. We playing a lot of poker. You can have like a busy social and dating life, and I could do 2 of those things pretty easily. but having all three at a given time, I really can't do. So sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm going to focus on poker and partying, or like if it's really important poker, I'll go and I'll just like kind of be a hermit for a few months and like just try to be as prepared as possible. And then other times, like right now, I'm not so focused on poker.
Interesting. So you don't know if you know if you
I have to go take a piss.
more shout outs, man. All right. KingDan's got to go to the bathroom. We're going to get some shout outs. Let me see what we got out there in the chat. We got my buddy Derminator from India. What's up, Derminator puppy? Good luck conquering the Indian poker world, my friend. Congratulations with having a tournament named after you. I believe was the photo you sent me. That's pretty cool. I'll let you know when I'm coming to India, and you can show me around to the IGG, man. We got my boy Marco all in. What's up, Marco? Papi, Coromosa, Vija Guy. What up, Vija Guy? Rob Straight One. What up, Rob Straight One? Al Heyman. What up, Al? Let's see what else we got in here, man. Who we got? My buddy Hack Taco on Twitch. What up, Hack? Yeti Monster. Calzo. What up? Yeti says, please shout me out. It will be my virgin shout out. I'm happy to pop your shout out cherry, my friend. So what else we got here, man? We get a lot of good questions, a lot of good comments. I appreciate it, guys. We got mic'd up. What up, mic'd? Prince. What up, Prince? CD says you better come to Morocco too, bro, for real. Man, isn't Morocco's kind of scary, dude? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd rather go to Ibiza before Morocco. So when I was in Ibiza, I decided not to go to Morocco with my friends because I thought that I would get kidnapped and get killed. So
I've heard good things about Ibiza.
I'm surprised. Oh, is this Dan's cousin? Who said that?
Dan said that, but I second that statement. Ibiza is a magical island.
It is. It fucking definitely is. I'm surprised Dan hasn't spent more time there.
I've never been.
That's shock. I'm shocked. I'm literally shocked from these other stories. I'm shocked you've never been there.
It's easy from Barcelona. It's a quick little boat ride.
Yeah, it's like a 45-minute plane ride from Barcelona.
The best times to go conflict with poker pretty hard. But now that I'm a more casual, retired, recreational player, like maybe I'll go during Scoop and take a few days off, you know?
Scoops in May, right? Yeah. I think the summer is best time to go. Yeah, it kind of coincides with WSOP.
Every summer I talk about how I'm not going to play that many WSOP events, and then every summer I just play too fucking many. But this is the year.
This is the year you're not going to play too many. You're going to come drink. So you just come drink with me. I'll be out probably 24 nights out of June. So if you need someone to go out with till 4 a.m., I'll probably be hanging out with all the mainly European. Like, so I know all the Euro guys.
Am I allowed to hang out with the PLO guys? Being a tournament player, are you guys gonna like?
You can come out with us. It's fine. You can come out with us. But really, like, it's weird because there's like the cliques and the tournament play during. I just want to answer the Ibiza question. My favorite spot in Ibiza is called Ushuaia. It's fucking awesome. It's my favorite nightclub in the whole entire fucking world. Isn't Ibiza only a dick island? No chance. There's a lot of women there too. But so during the series, like it's like like the tournament players are sort of like working hard. They're always playing tournaments. They're always sort of in a bad attitude, bad mood because tournaments and
when you lose most of the time it just hurts. Like it's hard to be positive.
But what you find with a lot of Euro guys, they want to grind their PLO sessions, but they'll go play 100, 200, and then they'll want to go out and get drunk till 3 a.m. after that. So it's kind of like those are like the perfect guys for me because I'm not trying to play tournaments. I'm trying to have fun. And, then you hang out with them once or twice, you hang out with them more and more. And
yeah,
you got your clique. When you're playing tournaments till 2, 1 a.m., you can't go out and get drunk. You got to play the next day.
When I play poker, I feel like I spend so much of my energy trying to play as good as possible, which kind of means like turning off my emotions and like strictly focus on like maximizing my equity in the tournament. And I can't just like turn that off as soon as the day is over. So it's hard for me, which is kind of why I go through this thing where I'm like all about poker for a period of time. And then times like now when I don't really play so much, because like when I play poker, I'm like pretty goddamn serious about it,
No, that makes sense. I think like the World Series poker is such a big time. It's, you sort of probably should stay focused if you're a professional poker player. I mean, you might say it's actually irresponsible not to just play a lot of poker while you're at the World Series of Poker, especially if you're playing live cash games. The games are good.
I don't think the World Series is always that high of an EV situation relative to that month. The stakes aren't that high. It's expensive to be in Vegas. Like I don't like EPT Monte Carlo. I think is better than any of the weeks in Vegas. You know, like the stakes are just. I mean, Vegas has a ton of like 1,500 and 3K tournaments, but you can only be winning so much in those. You know.
What if you just played something like the Aria High Rollers and the bigger buy-in World Series events then?
I think that would be a great plan. And if I had good discipline, that is likely something I would do.
What do you mean? So you think about this, but then you end up playing.
I say that I'm not going to play that much. And like and then I would have, like last year I had a day. I played day 2 of the 10K 6 max, busted, took a nap, played the 3K horse till 3 in the morning, and then I was hungry. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop by the Bellagio and order some food, and then I'll go to sleep. But then there was a good 100, 200 game running, you know? So like, I'm going to order food to the table.
So boy, I know where this is going. Okay.
I get stacked on the first hand. Now I'm stuck 20,000 in this game. I didn't sleep very much that night, you know? But like, what was I going to do? Was I going to show up and there was like a good 100, 200 shorthanded game I wasn't going to play? That's outrageous.
I think you know where you made the mistake, right?
I shouldn't have even gone.
The fuck are you going to Bellagio for in that situation? Come on. Like, you know.
I shouldn't have played the 3K horse. The fucking structures were terrible. I was going to play the 50K, so I felt like I needed the practice in the stud games. I probably shouldn't have gone to Bellagio, but I really wanted to get the room service lamb chops. They are spectacular, like far and away the best thing on the menu.
Would you say would you pay $20,000 for these lamb chops?
They are not $20,000 lamb chops, but I'd like to think I was winning in the game. So in this like fantasy world, I was getting paid some amount of money to eat these delicious lamb chops.
It's actually a really good point. You were getting paid in fake money to go eat these lamb chops.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that there was a game running. Sometimes I'll just go and
listen, late night Bellagio during World Series of Poker, who'd have thought a high stakes game be running? I agree, Dan.
I like how at any given time, like someone might be showing up and you have no idea whether this guy is just waking up or going to sleep. Like I kind of like the degeneracy of it.
Oh, dude, it's fucking great, man. The Bellagio during the series is so great. And there's all sorts of levels of action. There's so much. You got the guys in Bobby's room grinding it out. It's a really good time, man. I love Vegas during the summer. It's fun. I'm very excited.
I always feel broken by the end of the World Series, though.
What do you mean by broken? How so?
Playing poker for all these months, I'm just like totally spent, and it's just like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I played poker for 45 straight days, and like you get out of shape and like all of this stuff, and it just I'm never in like a great mental place after the World Series over. It's always like, thank fucking God that's over. And it's like, what do I keep putting myself through it? And then it comes up and I'm like, oh, maybe this is the year I'm gonna win a bracelet, or I don't know. I don't even fucking care about this. I don't know what I'm doing.
It sounds like there's many reasons to potentially, condense this schedule of yours and not play all of these smaller buy-in events in the future. This is how you feel.
There's always a good tournament a few days away, you know? If there's a good poker game that I can play, I have a hard time not playing, because then the opportunity cost of doing something else is just like outrageously high, you know? If I wanted to take a yoga class, but there's a game that I could make like $3,000 in if I play it, it's like, how could I really rationalize going to do yoga that day when I can make $3,000, you know?
I'm sure that's a question a lot of poker players ask themselves, Dan. Guys, if anyone has a suggestion for Dan how to deal with that question, please let us know on Twitter or let me know in the chat, because I'm genuinely curious as well. If you can make $3,000 in a poker game, but you can also go do yoga, what do you do in that spot? Can you do both?
No.
You can't do yoga at the table, you don't think?
Lucky Chewy could, but I'm not that kind of.
I could see him doing yoga at the table.
Chewy got trained in how to do all of these stretches, and now that we went through, if he's ever near me, he knows that I have a bad shoulder. He'll come up and start putting me in these precarious situations and put my arms over my head and just start stretching me out. Man, I love it.
He just walks behind. You just walk in. What's up? He just walks behind you and just starts playing with your body.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of this.
Okay, we got a receipt. Perfect. This is great. Let me find another Twitch comment here, or Twitter comment rather, while we're waiting here. Let me see what we got. What do we got? Sent in. What are your 2016 online poker plans then? Shout out to
I am in a. Okay, I have this photo. I'm gonna send it to you on Facebook. That
Okay.
I'm inspired to play. I'll play. I'm probably gonna play the Aussie Millions. Wait, could I just post it in this group chat?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Technology is hard, man. I'm gonna almost certainly play the Aussie Millions. They have 100K, a 250K, a 25K, a great main event, and Melbourne is my favorite city in the world. So those are some great reasons to go. I'm probably going to do that. And then with these tournaments, I could easily go from Melbourne and then take the flight to Dublin. And if I wanted to play that tournament, I could. There's an EPT.
I'm trying to get this.
Okay, you looked confused.
I'm trying to get this picture up.
After Dublin, there's the LAPC, and after LAPC is the Bay 101, and it's easy to just be like, I'm going to play all these tournaments. I'm going to try to reduce my schedule. I'm going to play the Aussie Millions and Monaco, and it depends what's going on. I heard some rumors that there's going to be $1 million tournament in Monaco this year, and if that were to happen, I wouldn't just stroll up and play $1 million tournament. You know, I would like come in, I would take care of myself, I would train, I would be playing like poker, I'd be studying some GTO, and I would be ready to play. If that doesn't happen, maybe I'll just be like hanging out more. I really don't have a plan. I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm also banking like having this extra 5 million DraftKings dollars, which will make me maybe a little bit less incentivized to play tournaments and a little bit more incentivized to take me and my cousin Matt to Ibiza.
I endorse that plan.
It's a great plan.
I'm gonna say something right now. You guys go to Ibiza, I'm in. I'm going.
Okay.
The problem is, Dan, I mean, I told a story a couple times. The last time I was in Ibiza, I ended up with a girlfriend, and living in a foreign country. So I just don't want that to happen again. If you can promise me you'll stop me from doing that again, I happily want to go.
And they're like mature and intelligent and like playful.
Great accent.
And I speak Spanish, which actually gives me a chance.
Okay, Matt's in for Ibiza. So now we just got to work out the dates.
Matt, you speak Spanish. I speak Spanish too, Papi. Can you tell us something? Where do you go? Do you go somewhere else?
He is cooking.
Oh, he said I've been learning Spanish as well. Oh,
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I grew up speaking it because I was raised by like a Dominican nanny who only spoke Spanish, so it's like a second language. That's like it's like my first words were like a combination of it. But
did you frequently call people Papi?
I don't call people Papi really, but.
Really? Why not? What about Papito, Papinga, Papacito?
I don't know. I feel like that's like I don't know. I feel like that's like an Italian thing. I don't know.
That's my good point.
Like a Latin America thing.
It's his go-to move.
Latin American people call it's like Papi is like a Dominican people constantly use the word Papi. I was just in DR. Speaking of beautiful women who speak Spanish, also.
Do they call you Papi?
They don't. They don't call me Papi.
Fuck,
but that would be great. I'll have to introduce myself next time as Papi. Next time I go to a Spanish-speaking country.
Please let me know how it works. I'd like to know. Please test that out for me.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, man. I gotta learn. Man. I think I've been spending not enough time in these countries, Dan.
No, but also when you go to a foreign country, though, you have like the whole mystique of being a foreigner, which just immediately ups your ability to, like your charisma.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a white guy in Asia was pretty great.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Don't they say in Japan, white man king or something like that? Is that just all Asia?
China was like the best, at least for me.
Yeah, good buddy of mine's in South Korea right now, and he's just killing it in South Korea. Yeah, I think he has three beautiful South Korean girlfriends that all like are okay with like him.
Who's this cousin? We need a cousin on the podcast too, man. This guy's awesome.
Okay, well,
Let's get a cousin podcast. Your cousin sounds like he's got some stories over there, man.
He's a smart kid. You're 21?
Yeah, just turned 21.
I did not have my head on my shoulders like this when I was 21. I was like, yo, I'm gonna play poker tournaments and I'm gonna try to get super fucked up at the bar. And those were like my two things.
You already had a ton of money at 21 though.
Yeah.
You were killing it at 21. You just,
We actually have a really good question for you guys in the chat. Mike Dub says, "Are the cousins Eskimo brothers?"
I'm pretty sure no.
Not yet, but within this week though, we'll see.
The girl with the dreadlocks.
Yeah, exactly. Me and Dan both have a thing for white girls with dreadlocks, and they're in abundance here. So
they're in abundance.
We're gonna lure them into the apartment with like a trail of weed, like little dime bags, and they're just gonna follow it.
Be a fun fucking week, man. You're gonna take him to Paris. Sounds like you're gonna show him.
He has a one-way flight.
Yeah, man.
Well, maybe you can show him Paris and San Diego. Show him the little Eiffel Tower puppies. I told you we got to wait till longer in the podcast so that way I can say these things and no one's watching anymore, so it's fine.
I'm going to grab a beer. I'll be back.
Okay. I made him want to drink now after that last comment. Let's get some more shout-outs, man. Who we got out here? Let me see. Dude's blunted. What up, puppy? What up, Bokes? Win Monies. What up, Win Monies? Rye Stacks. What up, buddy? Thick Gravy Enema. What up?
You want me to put this chicken in, please?
Sure, that'd be awesome.
Snort, what up, Super? M. Foley. It's a great question. I like that one next.
I have not come across any sponges.
Jason Lavely. What up, Jay?
I think I cleaned the pot, maybe.
Dazzle. What up, Dazzle? What's we got? Let me see here.
Cheers, Poppy.
Cheers. I just woke up, so I'm gonna just put this Jack Daniel or this Jim Beam bottle up to you and pretend I'm gonna drink it, but I'm not. Actually, fuck it. I'll just take a drink right now. I don't care.
Okay, I was gonna say it's rude to cheers and.
That's true. I'm cheersing. Hold on. Okay.
Donnie's been on the podcast several times. I think you could step up the Jim Beam. There are things like in the price range that aren't so pricey that are just significantly better.
I got to be honest with you, Dan. The reason I bought this bottle was when Ansky came on, we talked about whiskey, and I said the next time you come on, I'm going to buy whiskey for the first time. This was the first bottle I ever bought.
First time you bought whiskey?
Yeah, first time I was because of Ansky. He came on the podcast the first time he drank whiskey. I was like, all right, next time I want to have whiskey too. So I got some whiskey. And this was one of the first bottles I bought. And I think I bought another kind too that he recommended. It was like the reserve kind too, but that one's gone. So I bought two different kinds, and this is the one that's still left right now. So perfect. That was also great for waking up. That was perfect. Thank you, Dan, for that.
Cheers.
We were going to talk about the Donnie.
I have not been to Iceland. Chewy has spent a lot of time in Iceland.
You have to go to Reykjavik.
Chewy was raving about it.
Because my best friend just went there. My best friend's a super handsome, suave dude, but he just is very conservative, doesn't go out that much. But he just got back from there, and he told me that he went on a family vacation. He doesn't party, he doesn't do anything. He's like a stay-at-home with his vaporizer and play PS4 type of dude. And he'll invite girls over to play PS4 with him and whatever. He's that's the type, but he's a suave dude. He's just whatever. He's taking his school seriously, just chilling. But in the one night he went out, he was just corralled by this group of Icelandic girls. And after spending 2 hours with them, he was banging this beautiful girl in a public bathroom in a bar.
Where did the podcast come to today?
And I'm traveling around the world. Reykjavik is on my list because apparently it's a small island of tons of beautiful people who just don't really have that much to do, and everyone's a feminist that's very pro.
Whoa, hey, let's not get talking about feminists in poker. No, I'm not saying shit to them, man. I'm not making them angry right now. They're gonna get fucking tweeting at me.
You're 1.2% of women watching the podcast.
4% now, Daniel. We're making some progress.
Dude, the feminism trend in your blood will start. You'll start trending.
I gotta tell you something. 21-year-old cousin, my friend. When I was 21, I was talking about these same damn things. I was like, I'm trying to girl. Like this is what I was like. But when you get old, like me, I'm 30. You know, you sometimes. Eventually, you move past that. You move past that point. I wanted to.
Far and away, like my biggest priority when I was 21. Like, and me, poker sometimes, and chasing women pretty close.
No,
I have heard great things about
Iceland. Sounds
Iceland.
like the most magical place in the world. That's all I'm saying.
I have also heard that like women are very relaxed about.
Yeah, no, it's really a thing there.
Okay. Do we want to go there before or after we go to the raves in Ibiza? Joey, let's go here.
After.
After? Okay.
I'm in for Iceland too. It's fine. Whatever one. I mean, I guess it could be like that'd be an epic trip right there, kid. That's a good combination right there.
Retired life might be pretty good.
Yeah, after you get $5 million, you'll be chilling.
Yeah.
You will be chilling, won't you? $5 million, you'd be chilling. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. You would be chilling. $5 million, you'd be chilling. That's true. It's a simple way to look at it, I gotta say.
I have not told you this. When so I won 100K on FanDuel a while ago. I only had the kicker to go, and I was down by like 4 points. With like 2.5 minutes to go, Josh Lambo kicked a 55-yard field goal that put me into the lead.
No, that's so dope.
It put me in first place. I won the seat. Won the seat. I sent him a gift basket.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did he respond to it?
He responded and he gave me a signed football.
What?
I have a Lambo
so
signed
cool,
football now.
He had a great year.
Yeah.
Wow, you sent the guy that got you to the seat. You sent him a gift basket, and he sent you back a signed football.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick, man.
On my list is becoming best friends with Odell Beckham. Yeah.
Dude, we should hang out. We should hit him up.
He didn't give me his number, dude. He doesn't have Twitter. I reached out. I don't know. When I win this $5 million, I'm definitely gonna shout out to the guys on my team to like try to party with them. I want to be in Odell Beckham's entourage. You know, I need to make that happen. You know, can you get him on the podcast for me? That would just really make the whole thing a bit easier.
Are you friends with Touche?
Touche? No. I've spoken to him before, but I've met him in real life like once or twice. I know he's playing DFS though.
He is the person I know that is closest to Odell Beckham Jr.
Go on.
And by that I mean I've seen a picture of him next to Odell Beckham Jr. training. So that's what I can tell you. I mean, like, if you'd like to get to Odell Beckham Jr. and party with him, you got to talk to Touche.
All right. We can make that happen.
That's the guy you got to get in touch with. He's
by your experience with Dan Marino.
I got to meet Joe Montana and Dan Marino. Yo, I really like having like the backup for the podcast because I would have forgotten about some of this, but it's just he's only been here for like 2 hours. He's cooking me dinner right now. This is a fantastic setup. So FanDuel had this setup, which they had a combine for all the people who qualified. I was expecting, they says it was going to be identical to the combine that players go for the NFL draft. So in my mind, I was like, I stopped squatting a couple days before because I wanted my legs to be fresh. I was doing like mobility work. I got like new shoes. Like I was ready to go. And then it ends up being like, hey, jump into like this like foam pit and catch a ball. But I got to catch a ball from Joe Montana, a touchdown pass from Dan Marino. But I was like chatting with him a little bit, and they had this thing where they have these giant like beer pong cups, and you throw footballs in them. And I chatted to Dan Marino for like 30 seconds. And I never get starstruck. I got starstruck here because, like, growing up, like, Marino was, in my mind, the greatest quarterback of all time. And so then he's like, we're talking to him, and it's like, fuck, I have to throw this football in front of Dan Marino. And I fucking choked and I short-armed it. But I did catch a pass from him. It wasn't an easy one. I had to get my fingertips on it. It was a fun day all in all. Like, as far as weekends go where I lose $150,000, it was pretty good.
I mean, that sounds pretty fun. I saw my buddy Brian Wilbur posted a photo with him and Dan Marino and Joe Montana there. So,
Who's your buddy?
well, he took my buddy, my old one of my oldest poker friends, Vince Willie, aka Vinny Vici. He's Tinderella, I believe, on FanDuel.
It's also a great screen name.
Tinderella.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took his represented him or whatever at the FanDuel thing, I believe, and posted a pretty cool picture with Joe Montana and Dan Marino. So it looked like people were having some fun there. We got the chat. Jackson Leinhardt says, "What up? Good to see the late night live stream, Poppies." I agree, man. We did this one late because I woke up at 8 p.m. so I couldn't do it earlier in the day.
Yeah. Cold Stout doesn't wake up at 8 p.m., dude.
Are you sure Cole South doesn't wake up at 8 p.m.?
It's probably happened before, but actually, he does CrossFit at 6:30 in the morning, like very regularly.
Oh, he invited me to keep going. I'm like, I can't wake up at 6:30. What are you talking about? Like Sunday after going out, he's like, you want to come to CrossFit? I'm like, I can't go to fucking CrossFit with you, dude. That kid's he's living. He lives. GTO is a way of life. Is actually his life. That's him. He is GTO.
Yeah.
Are you hanging out with who's your people you've been hanging out with in San Diego?
There's some guys who play DFS here. I've been hanging out with Dave Schnettler. Actually, and his younger brother Jeff flew out to my beach house, or the one I brought up before, in 2008. Marcus has been a good host, showing me around. And
oh boy.
Okay, well, I didn't know if.
Oh boy. Okay, it's all you gotta tell me. Shout out to Marcus, just recently engaged. Congratulations to Marcus, by the way. I would never strike him as the type to be engaged, but he's engaged. So congratulations to him.
Like, yeah, people. Like, if guys like Marcus are getting engaged, we're getting old, dude.
Are you talking like Marcus does yet?
I mean, you're talking to me. How am I talking?
Okay, you don't talk like Marcus does. He uses a lot of acronyms, like acronyms I've never heard of, and I feel like I know a lot of acronyms. So
they have a particular kind of slang that I haven't caught on to. I hope I don't, but I don't know. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Done DITT done in this town. TGR the great, right? Yeah, there's some cool ones, man. The done in this town one is one of my favorite ones because. What are you reading over there?
Jason Loveley on Twitter said, "You're also pretty puffy yourself, XX." And then Aaron Jones just retweeted it. So I went to the Ansky wedding, and I was in Europe for a month rather, and it was just one of those trips where every day I tried to have gelato and pizza, and I would say on days I wasn't drinking, we just casually had like 5 beers, and then on days I was drinking, I had a bit more than that. Like, I don't know. It was kind of a rowdy wedding, you can imagine. And so then by the time I came back to North America, and none of my clothes fit anymore. So I started doing CrossFit. But keeping me real clean.
We're gonna be eating kale, like just only kale exclusively.
We'll be eating kale, chicken. I've been doing CrossFit recently. I got wrecked today.
Are you surfing at all? Do you surf?
I have gone surfing one time, and
Really, Coronado Beach is the spot.
I don't surf. Maybe it's something I should pick up while I'm out here. Do you?
Well, Dan, I don't surf.
I hear Chicago is good surfing, dude.
Chicago has. What do you know? No one. What do you mean? He's trolling.
Obviously, he doesn't surf. He lives in Chicago.
No surfing in Chicago here. I don't see any questions on Twitter here. Yeah, the Ansky wedding was in Italy, right?
Yeah.
Is he a poker player?
Yes. I don't know if you met my friend Donnie. I lived with him for a couple of years in Toronto. Yeah. After Black Friday, we got an apartment, and the plan was it was going to be a boys' house. And then Stephanie, he actually partially moved there to be with her. The idea was we were going to have separate, like she was going to have her place, and there was the boys' house. First night, she She stays over, and she just every other night in Toronto, she stayed there as well.
That's good though. It's good.
Honestly,
it's good to have a feminine touch.
At that time, if it had been anyone else, I would not have been cool with it. But now, like Donnie and Stephanie are two of my closest friends. I gave a speech at the wedding. I talked about this. Yeah, awesome. I felt like such a grown-up. I was a little bit nervous. I was like speaking in front of like 100 people, and I've never done anything like that before. And I went on like pretty late into the wedding, and I was pretty drunk, and I was worried about blowing it. I felt great. I felt like I gave an unbelievable speech. And I'm like, man, I'm such a grown-up. And I get off the stage, and Mad Dog's like, yo, man, your fly's down.
You know what your cousin reminds me of, Dan?
No, I do not.
He reminds me of WCG rider, Doug Polk.
You're going to have to elaborate.
When I hear his voice and I hear some of the things he's saying and the way that he comments to some things you say, it sounds just like WCG rider does.
Huh.
Like, his voice just sounds just like him. It's kind of... I've never compared WCG to anyone too, but that's a good comparison.
Nah,
debatably, it's good. Where did that question go? About the fight. People are fighting these days. M. Foley says, "What's Dan's thoughts on these charity fights going on with poker players like Brian Raston and Sorel Mizzi?"
I am inclined. If I was going to bet, I would bet on Sorel. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how hard they've been training or this or that. Sorel's a big dude, though.
Yeah, he is.
And he has like some track record. He won some funky swimming bet where I'm not entirely sure of the specifics, but he won a bunch of money doing that.
It's like we're eating our food. Would that be so?
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. He has like a wide array of spices, except the most basic in the world.
Well, I'm actually going to have Brian Rest on the podcast next Tuesday. Again, we're going to talk about the fight. And I just had him on the podcast, and he got drunk last time. So I don't know if we're going to get drunk this time. He's training for it. It's on the 30th. So
I'm a big Rest fan. I've never gotten to spend any time with him until Burning Man, and then we got some good bonding time in, and it was nice.
Yeah, he's a pretty sick guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know how he has the Brazilian wife. The story he told about like meeting his wife, a Brazilian wife, they didn't speak English. Like they Skyped and getting her in the country. It was just like, holy crap, man! That was so much hurdles you got to go through to make that happen.
I don't remember specifics, but I think he got married super quick too, like in a short amount of time meeting her. Like I just couldn't imagine ever doing that, you know?
I mean, I couldn't either, but maybe there's some performance-enhancing drugs involved. Maybe you're feeling a little bit, I mean, it's only speculation. You never know, but
oxytocin does crazy things.
Doing some crazy stuff. Guys in the chat, I'm going to take a couple more questions, then we're going to wrap it up here and try to keep it under the 2-hour mark here. Everybody, dude, no, come on. Any Vipper stories? Al Heyman asks.
No. I've met him a couple times, but no Vipper stories.
No Vipper stories. Okay. Jackson says, "Does Dan Smith smoke weed?"
I have smoked some weed in my day. I go through periods where I'll smoke a lot, and then other times when I don't. I don't really like smoking during the daytime. But in the period of time where it's like, okay, I'm done with things for the day, I'm going to go to sleep in like 2 hours. I kind of enjoy it. So, yes.
Okay. Let's see. So, confirmed Dan did do Camp Epic at Burning Man, Lost in Poker says.
Confirmed.
All right, perfect. I also want to give a shout out to this young guy named Huber, who is a writer for PokerUpdate.com. So he's going to start doing these recaps of all my podcasts, and he started doing it with Mason Malmuth's episode. And for people that can't be bothered, so I said this, I should have said this at the beginning because anyone that's watching now probably watches a lot of the podcasts then. He'll be writing updates and sort of talking about things that we discussed on here. He'll be following up with some other things. He did a really, really good recap of the Mason one and gave some other information about some of the things he said. So you can check that out on Poker Update. He'll be doing that for this episode and for future episodes as well. So I want to give him a shout out too. that it? Does Dan speak to Tom Dwan at all? James Lee asks.
Sometimes. He's not an easy guy to reach. I was briefly in the circle of guys who would get to play in the big Macau game, and I would see Tom. Tom used to have pieces of me in high rollers. I haven't spoken to Tom in quite a while, but we cross paths every once in a while. But he's still a total enigma to me. And it's kind of amazing that even his closest friends have no idea what his deal is, you know? At some point, I hope I would get to know what's going on. Because it's a very unusual setup.
I got an idea, Dan. We're going to get him on the podcast.
He is not a podcast kind of guy, but
we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. There might be some performance-enhancing drugs involved for me convincing, but we're going to make it happen one day. It might be 4 years from now. It might be 6 years from now, but we're going to make it happen before the podcast ends. What is with these questions in the chat about the escort situation here? Honestly, Johansson says during the World Series of Poker, what is the standard lineup for a 100-200 game in Bobby's room?
I don't think there is a standard lineup. There were a few times. There's one recreational player who really enjoyed playing with me this summer, and I would go set up games and be like, "Hey guys, we get cards in the air. There's going to be a game in 30 minutes for a guy you want to be playing with." And these fucking people were doing some really outrageous shit. They'd be putting chips. Everyone would throw dollar chips trying to lock up seats. They wouldn't play, or I'd be like, "Guys, I have a game." Then people were fighting, or then someone would take the last seat, so there's no longer an open seat. The recreational player. It usually revolves around a weaker player, and then some of the regs show up. There's a bunch of guys who seem to live at the Bellagio, and they're just always around. A common lineup was 4 really good players and Paul Newey, who's actually a much better player than his reputation. But the game wouldn't even fill up if Newey was the spot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a typical lineup. I played some with Ike. I played some with Timothy Adams, Nuts in Ho, Tom Marchese. Some of the Bellagio regs. There's this dude Andre who's been a high stakes guy for a while. And there'd be a handful of guys. I don't know. Did I do an okay job of answering that, or did I not say anything?
I think so. I think if there was a lot of fun players, you'd have been "Oh, let me tell you, the fucking games are great." You know what I mean? You would. I think that sort of answered the question. Really, it sort of tells you what an average lineup potentially could be. Who could be playing in the games? What kind of players you could expect to see.
Weren't that exciting, except a handful of times there were holy fucking shit! This is the best game I've ever played. I'm 100K deep with this guy who is one of those guys, you know.
For sure. I know what
you
you mean.
don't get to play in that game unless you play in the shitty game. But there was I ended up playing some outrageously big pot where this dude we're 50K deep at 1-2. I bet 7th. I raised him on the flop on a 2-club board. The club came on the turn, and I bet say 8,000 with I don't know, let's say we'll have 50,000 behind. The guy shows me one of his cards that he's drawing to a straight flush. So it's there's 3 connected clubs, you know? So he's I either have a straight flush or I'm drawing to it. And he calls, and the river's a 4th club. So I see that he has a 5-high flush, and I'm in, and he checks, and I'm okay, I guess I'm all in, and I didn't go all in. I just bet 1.5 times the pot. But it was a situation. I wouldn't expect a guy normally to show me that he had a 5-high flush when we had 50,000 behind, you know?
So what happened? Wait a sec. Come on.
He folded.
Oh, what'd you have?
I had a set that I would have checked behind, but now that I knew he had a 5-high flush, I was time to bluff this guy.
Nice hand, Puppy.
Thank you.
Let me tap the table for you. Nice hand. Nice hand, sir. Very nice hand. Let me see. Let me take one more question from Kaka Man, my buddy Kaka Man.
Interrupt really quick.
What's up?
I'm going to interrupt real quick. I'm hoping that people enjoyed this podcast. I would really appreciate if people were to throw some charity donations my way. No donation is too small. Like, the few charities that are left have been going a little bit slower. So even like a $10 or $20 donation would make a big difference. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate you donating money to any of the charities on my blog at dansmithholla.wordpress.com.
And it has to be one of those 4 charities, or can it be a different charity outside of those 4 charities?
It has to be one of the listed charities. I stopped matching donations to the Machine Institute Research Institution, the Intelligence rather, because it had received like 30 of the 37,000 raised, and from like a feel-good perspective, like, I'm not solely doing this to like better the world. On some level, like, I want to like feel good from this, and I think just like funding machine intelligence wouldn't make me feel as good as, say, making sure kids were like getting dewormed or like treating malaria or like getting people out of jail. I think there are good causes. I've given them a lot of thought, and I would appreciate if anyone were to donate, and I would find it like satisfying. Like, I thought 70,000 in donations was kind of like a lofty goal to get people to raise in 3 weeks, and I would really appreciate if we were able to get it done.
There you go. I'll be checking it out. I'll be happy to make a donation on one of these things.
Oh, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Dan Coleman. I just was like, hey man, I'm doing this charity thing. Would you like to go in it with me? And he was immediately just like, sure. And he just like matched me the full way. A lot of respect. It was a good thing. And it's not like he and I are super close or anything, you know? Mm-hmm. We bonded a little bit at Burning Man. And he just was immediately like, you know what? I support what you're doing. I'm going to help you out. So yeah, guys, I'd really appreciate some donations.
That all we got? I think that's all we got. I want to say what's up to my buddy Kaka Man, a.k.a. Mr. Papito, a.k.a. Magnum Man, a.k.a. he sends me pictures of him with half-naked women on Twitter. And they're allegedly not from Backpage. So I want to give him a shout out. And that's it. Do we have anything else you want to add, Dan? We covered a lot?
I think we did a great job. I think Matt was a great podcast, some great podcast backup. And if you want to tell me where Matt and I should go out tonight, I'd appreciate it.
What is tonight?
Tonight is Tuesday.
I don't know. Tuesday night. I'm not sure. I mean, you probably just go to Gaslamp, troll around, and find some people over there. Or PB, I guess. I mean, I'm sure you go to PB at some point, but you probably want to stay close to your house. You what?
I haven't been to PB yet.
I mean, you can just go to Main Street and PB, and like it's Garnett, and have fun. Probably just go to Gaslamp, walk around. I'm not sure if there's two.
Redlocks.
Do you guys go to nightclubs?
I do. I wouldn't try to do that on like a very low key Tuesday night. If I'm gonna go to a nightclub, I'm gonna be in like rampage mode, you know?
Nah, you gotta get the levels to that shit, son. You gotta find another level, man. The Tuesday nightclub grind, man.
I mean, they're like loud, crowded places, you know? I think there's like a time and a place where I want to do that, but I would normally rather be in like a more chill bar.
I'm too short for nightclubs. I'm gonna be real. I'm too short for nightclubs, man. I stand a whopping 5'4", and I walk around. I can't even see people, man. I do my work by where you can actually be heard. They're not gonna like look at me and be like, oh, okay, I'm going home with this guy. Like just based on his like poor dancing moves, you know. I need to be able to like speak to them.
Kid's only 21. He has life all figured out.
I like this kid, man. Oh yeah, Taco Tuesdays is tonight. That's true, Kush Strain. Good point. Taco Tuesdays tonight, so you can go to a lot of places. We usually go into PB on Tuesdays because there was a lot of people there. So that was a good spot to go to.
Well, if people watching the podcast have some good places for me to go out, I'd appreciate some recommendations.
Please send it to him on Twitter at Dan Smith Holler. Luke Thomas says Tijuana.
Tijuana might be a different kind of night than we're going after, but I think there'll be a time and a place for it.
All right, guys. We appreciate it. I'll be back on Thursday, guys, with Alexander Dreyfus from the GPI. Were you hear about the thing? You hear about the GPI, the league? They're doing a league, 12 teams. What do you think about that?
I think it's an interesting idea. I'd be curious to see how it was executed, and I hope I am the #1 draft pick.
Well, we'll be talking about it. I'll let him know. We need Dan Smith to get drafted first.
Okay. If you can do someone start pushing me to go up the rankings, get the word out, I'd appreciate it.
I'll happily get you up. I'll happily do that.
I didn't know you had any ties into the tournament world, does that mean you're selling out? You're touting tournament players,
No, I'm not touting tournament players. No, I'm not touting it, man. Am I? Fuck, dude.
And then you're gonna have to decide. If I'm gonna be the pick, that means your boy PLP or Fedor.
Oh, that's true.
But,
Those are my guys.
If I owned a poker team, I think I would make a great first pick.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you can you own a team?
No.
I don't think that. Does it work like that? We'll ask him about it on Thursday. I don't know.
If I win $5 million, actually, you know what? I was going to say I'll just make a point to buy a team, but no, I'm not going to fucking buy a team. I have better things to do. But all in all, I'm probably going to win this tournament next weekend.
Oh, yeah, about the piece. How does this work? So if I get a piece, how does this work?
I mean, what kind of sweat do you want? So the minimum cash is $20,000. So 1% is $600, and I have 3 lineups. So 1% is $1,800. Honestly, actually, I have no idea what your deal is. You're kind of an enigma. For a while, I was like, is this guy making money off the podcast? You're only doing it for fun. Mm-hmm. I hear that you play some of these big games. Let's stay a few minutes longer. What are you a professional poker player still? Is that your main gig?
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
How many hands of poker have you played in the last 12 months?
I played more PLO hands than 99% of people in the world in the last 12 months.
I have no idea what that means. Give me some numbers. I have been very open with you. I've been open about drugs. Let's have a chat.
All right. Well, I had a 140K month and a half a month and a half ago, and then I decided to take a little break and stop playing as much. I think I played about 400,000 hands this year.
400,000.
Depending on I don't play as many tables anymore, so it's I can't quite get to my million or two like I used to back in the day. But
what's your most commonly played stake?
That and 1020. 1020 on the untracked Euro sites / American sites.
Okay.
So you understand if you talk about results publicly, it's bad for me because if I tell people I'm making a large amount of money, well, then they're naturally going to be like, where the fuck's he making a amount of money? So
you might trick tournament players like myself into playing PLO, I don't even know the rules. And I'm like, oh, there's this 1020 thing going on. Maybe I'll hop in there.
Then someone asked for receipts. I've shown receipts on the Twitch stream multiple times. So.
Oh, no. I'm not doubting you. I was just curious.
Someone that chats for receipts.
Time, I'm like, do you have plans to try to monetize the podcast? Or you just do it for fun?
Maybe I'm sure something long-term will come from it. I think there's value in building up an audience and having, people that support you or watch your stuff or really enjoy what you do. And then at some point in time in the future, you'll be able to turn that into a way to make money from it. Right now, I don't need to make money from it. So I don't really pursue any of the angles. With most podcasts do sponsors and they shill products and shit like that. I don't really need to worry about making $1,000 extra from something. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's I don't know. It's fun. I just like doing it. It's a good time. You get to have chats with people, and
I had fun. I think as a host, in the early interviews, I feel like you've gotten a lot better as a host. I think it's a good show. You've had some great, you got Ben86 to come on twice, who's one of he's probably the greatest online player of all time. You got Sauce. Did Ike ever come on the podcast?
No, well, we're gonna have him on, but then the Stinger stuff.
Oh,
yeah. We'll get him on at some point, man.
I will see if I could convince Ike to do it.
Well, he said he would do it.
He drinks in his day, so maybe on a day that he does that, I'll get him to commit.
Well, he told me I talked to him in the summer. He said he seemed excited. He seemed like he was ready to come on, but then the Brian stuff happened, and we were just I haven't really asked him since then. So I guess with the star stuff now, he'd probably be a little bit hesitant to do it too. So maybe in the future, we'll get in a couple months or something like that. We'll get him on. That'll be fun. Yeah. But no, I think from the beginning about the interview thing, I was just I played online poker only for 6 or 7 years straight. So I didn't really have, I have social interaction, but I wasn't having this, it just takes time to learn how to get better at anything. So I think that's sort of what happened. Plus, a lot of people that I have on now, I know a lot better than I first knew when I might have had them on the first time. So it just makes the second time around much easier, and it makes interactions with friends of friends much easier too. So
absolutely. And I'm happy now that I didn't know you were still such like a regular player, and I think I have like a better perspective into the show now.
Yeah, I mean, I always think about maybe I should talk about that more, but normally with the guest, you know, it's me and the guest. I let the guest do the talking. I'm not here to talk about. I mean, I like to inject some, you know, personal things I've done and pertaining to different subjects, but it comes to poker, like I'm not here to, you know, you're not here to be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this during a podcast. So,
well, if you do, I have an interest in it. Just so you know, and I'm sure some other people do too.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing some like video blog type things for like monthly, just to talk about, because I travel a lot and do all kind of debatably fun and interesting things I think some people like. So talk about some poker stuff. I'm just yeah, you know, it's when it comes to streaming my play and all that bullshit like that, I'm not very big fan of doing that stuff. So
yeah, and that's one, like then you're letting people know exactly where you play, and like the games get worse, people know how you play.
That's the biggest. That's why I don't post a graph, just because like publicly, just because it's like if people know, I mean, people probably have an idea where I'm playing, but there are some Euro sites that are still, you know, pretty good, and technically it may be against TOS depending on who you ask. So
okay,
you know.
And this kind of like changes things when you're like, hey, could I get a piece? Like I wasn't sure what kind of piece you want. I think it's a good spot. I think I'm winning in the field. It's obviously super gambly.
Someone says they want to play me one-on-one at basketball. I'll play you one-on-one at basketball. I don't mind.
No.
Someone's in the chat said that, but no, go ahead. For your thing.
I enjoy playing basketball, but I am a short Jewish guy who is not particularly skilled.
No, someone in the chat said they want to play me one-on-one basketball. I'll play anyone one-on-one at basketball. I might get beat if you're much better than me, but I'm still pretty good. I'll compete, man.
Do you play in the regular game in the summer with like Aaron Jones and like Mercier and those guys?
No, I didn't go because I went out all the time and just got drunk. I mean, I went out till 3 a.m. like 3 weeks in a row, basically. I just stayed out all night long.
The three things, but you can't. You could party, and you could. Actually, no, that's only one of the three things. But you partied, you know.
I had a good time, man. It was like it's a good. Vegas is like a great opportunity to see your friends you never get to see, man. All these. The PLO guys, I've known them for so long, but you never actually get to see them. You're never in the same place. It's like the one chance. Like they're never in fucking America. They're in America for a couple weeks out of the year. So you want to take advantage of that opportunity and hang out with them.
Yeah.
Have some fun. So for the piece, what was this piece? How much do I want to gamble?
You don't have to decide now. We could talk.
Okay. When is it? This Sunday?
It is this Sunday.
Perfect.
And I usually don't do this, but I'm like physically writing down names on this sheet of paper to like talk about which guys I want. Like I'm making like a board, and I'm trying to like.
We're gonna be discussing this at length.
Yeah. It's an interesting week.
Yeah, because there's all these injuries.
Yeah.
And there's guys that are gonna be very heavily owned, like David Johnson.
Sounds like gonna be fun, guys. How long's your cousin in town for?
You got a one-way flight.
Definitely, man.
Oh shit, that's something I would do. Nice. That's what I do actually. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going back to school in February, so until then I'm just chilling.
Well, shit, man. Have a good time. You staying at Dan's house?
Yeah, we'll be staying here, man.
I rented a 2-bedroom, and I have like friends coming most of the way.
It's a nice
LaForte's gonna visit me in the new year. That's GTO.
When's LaForte coming down there?
January 8th or so.
I gotta tell you, I might have to go just to try to make the J Kuhn LaForte connection, please, while they're both out there. Just make that introduction.
Oh, they haven't met each other?
I don't think so. No, I'm not. I don't think J Kuhn and LaForte met each other.
Big news.
Please make the introduction, just please. I
promise. Oh fuck! Is Kuhn gonna be a PCA?
Maybe. That's a good point.
Maybe I could convince Jakun. I'm not doing PCA this year. I'm very proud of myself. Maybe I could convince him to join me in retirement.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure what I know he's San Diego and up right now. I think I don't know if he got a place in Del Mar or La Jolla. I'm not sure where he got a spot at, but That'd be fun. I just want to see that. Tell me about the interaction if I'm not there. I just want to see Jay Kuhn and the Fort like having a conversation. It was kind of like when I said I wanted to see Sauce and Ike have a conversation, and then I actually got to witness it and them have a conversation for like 10 minutes, and I was like, this is great. I just want to see who who takes over the conversation in that spot, because you know what I mean. Like, so okay, if Ike and Sauce get together, who do you think is like the alpha? Who's taking over that conversation?
I have had many conversations with the two of them. They're buddies.
At the same time?
Yeah.
I haven't really seen them ever at the same time.
I would say like Sauce gets more words in. Also, Ike never like snap answers something. You ask him a question and then he like goes into the tank and he like.
Hold on. You want to ask him a question? He's here. Ike, Dan's here, man. Your boy. You want him to get him on? He can come answer a question if you'd like. Hold on. What are you doing, Ike? Come on, man. Hi, Dan.
Hello, Ike. How you going? How's the move to Vancouver?
It's been good. Yep. I'm getting settled in. Not quite like Malta, but it's okay. I don't want to do anymore, man. I'm gonna ruin it. That's all I got. I haven't been practicing it lately, but I'm trying to work on my Ikenisms. I'm trying to work on my mannerisms of an Ike Hollywood Haxton. I'm trying
to do an impression, but if you Ike ask a question where he has to think kind of hard, he pauses and it's like, and he looks up. Like if it's like a tough poker spot, he will. Even if there's like kind of a straightforward answer, he never like answers quickly. So you have to get a good pause in there.
You got to pause between all your sentences. No.
You pause before the first thing, and then like after like he like makes his calculation, then he addresses it. But like guys like you and I, we just talk and bullshit, and then eventually we have something to say.
That's true. Maybe we need to do. I think Ben kind of does that too. Ben sort of takes a moment. Ben 86, he takes a moment before, and then he comes up with some very wisdomatic type of answer. So
I am a Ben 86 fan. He was actually in my apartment in Toronto, like early 2011. He got a little bit drunk, and we were like, he was asking me something about tournaments, and he like asked me what my range would be in a given spot, and I ended up just like capping out, being like, you know what? That would like depend on like game flow and meta game and yada yada. And he just like looked at me and was like, that's some fucking bullshit. No, that's fucking stupid. And I'm like, well, Ben 86 just called me fucking stupid, so it's time to get my shit together. I started working like a lot harder after that, and honestly, it was like not that far after is when I started going on my run. Like when I moved to Toronto, I got my shit together and I started working really hard.
Wait a second, Ben 86 being drunk and telling you that was fucking stupid motivated you to go on to work hard and go on this sick run?
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
He was already like a high stakes crusher, you know. And if he told me the way I approach poker was fucking stupid, it's probably fucking stupid.
Wow, it's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I think back to the Sauce thing. No, when I had Sauce on the podcast, I had him just on before Vegas, and I was like, "Oh, have you and Ike like you guys like talked in person really?" And I think he said something like they hadn't, and because I was asking this question like, "Who you and Ike sit down at the table like what's the conversation like?" And he's like, "I'm not sure." And then like literally like right the second day we were in Vegas, we were all outside everyone's congregating outside of the Bellagio, the poker room there. And then Sauce is talking to us, and then Hollywood comes out and they start talking. I'm just like, holy fuck, this is like we just asked this question, and now we get to see it. And I feel like Hollywood might have taken that one over a little bit. He was smoking a cigarette. I didn't even know Ike smoked. It was like a mind blown moment seeing Ike smoke a cigarette.
Ike is very different from the way that you would assume he would be. He's an interesting character.
I think he's interesting. I agree. All right. We said that was all we got. That was like 15 minutes ago. I guess this is all we got. This is all we got. Dan, 2 people you'd like to see on the podcast? Good question, I'm pulling.
I mean, that's a great question. I want to give it like a proper answer.
Okay. You can go in the tank a little bit.
Has Odson done the podcast?
Odson has done the podcast.
Okay, so I'm not going to use an answer. I'm not an Odson fan.
I am too.
I would like to see True Teller on the podcast. I have no idea what that guy's deal is. He clearly has a ton of gamble. The word on the street is he had like a fat piece of himself in the 500K. Russians are always I'd like to see him. I guess he's not a PLO player, so maybe
but I feel like I messed that. So during the summer, he was like, I tried to meet as many people as I could in the summer because it's easier. Once you meet people, you sometimes become friends with them. It's like you can get them on a podcast. You build relationships that way. And True Teller, I saw him and I was like, I don't want to say anything to him, but I probably should have said something because I'm sure. I mean, he's been trying to be more public. He's playing a lot of tournaments and making appearances and stuff, so he might come on the pod.
Has Lot Mice ever been on the podcast?
No, he hasn't. That's it.
I would want him. I met him in Vegas. He is an interesting guy, fun to talk to. I think he has some good high stakes stories as well.
All right, we got Lot Nice. So is True Teller the second one?
Well, he's not a PLO guy, so I feel like it's a little bit of a cop out.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really have mainly all PLO guys anymore.
He's very sweet, Like I don't know what this guy's deal is.
I thought he won't come on. He's very private. I've talked to him about it before.
Okay.
He's a shy kid. You don't want to get robbed in Sweden, beat up by the Sweden mobsters.
I guess that's a valid complaint or like precaution. I mean, I would love to see True Teller.
Okay, we got True Teller and we got Lot Nice.
You know what? That Eric guy. Scratch the other two. I would like Eric. I would really like is Eric Hosweiler. You know what I'm talking about.
Eric Holreiser.
Answer some questions. He's my new number one pick. Lot Nice number 2.
All right, Eric Holreiser from PokerStars PR.
Read him an email and see what he says.
Fuck it, I'll ask him. We'll see what he says.
Okay.
All right, guys in the chat.
Don't make it like a special request from me. I don't know if he likes me, but
yeah, Eric, I was talking with Donnie Stern and Dan Smith, and they really requested your presence on my podcast. Would you be interested in coming on and engaging in a conversation with me about PokerStars' current situation and your direction on the public relations front on social media and your blog? Thank you. I'll say that.
I think that's going to work.
You say you could have done more. How could you have done more, Eric? What do you think ways you could have done more?
A Sam Greenwood tweet that I liked that he said, "You keep saying you could have done more, and in actuality, you couldn't have done less."
I saw that one. Mic drop. I like Sam a lot, man. I like Sam.
Yeah.
I like the Greenwood kids, man. They're some nice kids.
I am good friends with the Greenwoods. Give them an endorsement. Their dad's real cool too.
It's so weird that they all play poker. Like there's three: Luke, Max, and Sam, right?
Yeah.
Is there any more?
No more brothers. Howie and Ellen, their parents, also do come to PCA every year. And one year when I played it, Howie just came by and railed my table for a bit, and he just became best friends with everyone. And he was chatting them up while they're in hands, and it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, this guy sounds awesome.
Maybe get Howie on the podcast.
Can we get Howie Greenwood on a podcast? Put him on the list.
I don't think he knows what a podcast is, but I think he'd be open to have a chat with you.
We can do a Greenwood family podcast, something like that.
I mean, that's a great idea. Maybe have it on Christmas because they're all Jewish.
That's an idea. I mean, that's
okay. Boom, boom.
I can run it by him. All right, guys. I think this is it. We're insane.
It's real.
Dan, much love, man. Had a lot of fun. Really.
I had fun as well.
It's always a great fucking time, kid. I'll let you know about the piece. You guys have fun tonight. Let me know how the trip goes. Please keep me updated. There's a small chance.
Pretty soon.
There's a small chance I might go to San Diego next month too. And then I might just stay there for January into February and then go to LA for the poker awards and maybe play LAPC cash games. And yeah, so I'll probably be staying downtown at Nega Slam too. So if so,
you know where I'll be.
That'd be fun. So, all right, guys in the chat, thanks for all the comments, questions. You guys were great. And peace out. Adios. I'll see you guys later.